Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode is brought to you by Transfuse. Transfuse is the #1 all-natural electrolyte drink. Has everything you need: magnesium, potassium, sodium, vitamin B, choline, and zinc, and vitamin C. Lots of vitamin C, over 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C. What does that mean? That means that it's going to be really good for your immune system. What do we need to be doing these days, especially with all the lockdowns? Gyms are closed. There's really not much talk about treating your body right and being healthy to fight off this virus. Well, what you can do 100% is be making sure you are supplementing with vitamin C and zinc. Both of these have been proven to reduce the duration of common cold. Vitamin C is so good for your immune system. Zinc, also so good, something that you should be taking on a daily basis anyway. I know before Transfuse, I was always taking at least 25-30 milligrams of zinc every single day in pill form. There are these kind of big oblong pills that I really didn't enjoy getting down. Vitamin C, same thing. If you think about like a traditional packet of Emergency, they have about 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. And as I said, here in Transfuse, 1,500 milligrams. So it's just a really great way to boost your immunity. Also has the cognitive enhancing vitamin B, which I love vitamin B and choline. Both of these are really good to stay sharp and make sure that I have my mental replenishments ready and on hand. And then obviously making sure I'm well hydrated. That's first and foremost. As an athlete, you really need to make sure you're hydrated, especially during the holiday season. When you're consuming a few extra adult beverages, it's going to be really advantageous for you to make sure that you have the proper hydration so that you wake up the next morning feeling fresh, feeling good, so you can go on with your day, enjoy your day. I love it. I can't say enough good things about Transfuse. Transfuse has everything we need, and we're very thankful to be partnered with them. We have made sure that you guys can get this stuff at a discounted rate. If you guys head over to translabs.com, that's TRANZLABS.com, use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, and you'll get a 10% discount. Something that they have done, which is really cool, is if you do subscribe and subscribe to their auto ship to where they ship you your product every single month. You have to deal with the hassle. You get an additional 11% off. So it's pretty fantastic. We're thankful for them to extend that to all of our listeners. And if you guys would like to support the show, obviously supporting our sponsors is a great way to do so. So again, head over to translabs.com. Check them out. Use code PLAYTHEGAME and hope you enjoy. This episode is also brought to you by Heal Brand CBD. Heal Brand is a fantastic CBD company that has been bringing us the best CBD products we've ever used. I love their stuff. They have a few different things. They obviously have a topical rub. They have a tincture, which is just your traditional CBD drops. But these tinctures have nanotechnology, which is phenomenal. When I first read it, what is that? What is nanotechnology? Nanotechnology is a way that the CBD can actually break through the cellular wall and get into your bloodstream a lot faster and more efficiently. So you need less to do more. It's real, honestly. As soon as you take this stuff, you feel it. I get a really good night's sleep from using this CBD product. Absolutely love this stuff. They also have an AMP energy drink, which has 10 milligrams of their CBD, their nano CBD, in a little shot, tiny 1 ounce shot. And it has a few other natural ingredients to help you wake up in the morning and get your day started. My personal favorite product from them is their knockout shot. Their knockout shot is absolutely dynamite. I was taking it pretty much every night before World Cup so I can recover from all of the training that I was doing, make sure that I could get a good night's sleep. If you guys are unaware of how important good sleep is, you need to just do your own research. Research the benefits of a full 8 hours of sleep, and even more importantly, the negative side of what happens when you're not getting enough sleep. So many of us fall asleep and either can't stay asleep or struggle to fall asleep. And for that reason, people don't get enough sleep. You're not well rested throughout the day, and you walk around kind of lethargic, slow, depressed. It affects your mood, your anxiety, all of this stuff. Sleep is so important. These knockout drinks, they're fantastic. They have 10 milligrams of the nano CBD, melatonin, valerian root, really good quality ingredients, tryptophan, stuff that is all natural and going to help you sleep better just by simply taking it maybe 30 minutes before you go to bed. I love this stuff. Again, PTG has partnered with them so that you guys can get a discount. If you guys head over to healbrand.com, you're going to use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, and you will get a 10% discount. Try one of the tinctures. See, how it makes you feel. I know Blake Yarber at World Cup was dealing with a couple injuries. He had some knee pain, and he didn't want to take any Advil or Tylenol. He came in and asked if he could have some of the CBD. I gave him some, and he said that it made him feel a whole lot better. It really helps with inflammation, things like that. So if you guys are having any sort of issues or questions, highly recommend that you try this product. It's fantastic, and we use it for a reason. So again, that's healbrand.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, and let us know what you think. Please reach out if you do get the products and let us know how it makes you feel and what kind of feedback you have for us. Thank you. This episode is also brought to you by G2 Paintball. G2 Paintball is a paintball athletics company that has been crushing it. They are a huge part of the reason we won World Cup, in my opinion. We went out to Arizona for a massive 3-day training and went through the whole G2 program, and it kicked my butt. If it weren't for my transfuse, I would not have been able to make it through it, and I'm actually not even kidding. That is not just a selling point. It was so intense and so difficult, the 3 days of training that we did in that Arizona heat. I needed to have as much of a boost in the electrolyte department as possible, and transfuse came through. But this ad's about G2, so let's get back to it. Something very exciting is coming to G2 Paintball, and it is the Paintball Combine partnership with G2. It's going to be going on in Arizona at the end of January. All players out there, if you guys are looking to showcase your skills, if you think you have what it takes to play professional paintball, our players that have come through the Combine have turned pro. Austin Beatty, Christian Martinez, we have players that have done it. They are living proof. You can too, but you have to put in the effort. You have to come show up. You have to showcase your skills and let us see what you got. Head over to g2paintball.com, head over to bkipaintball.com, paintballcombine.com. All three of those websites will have tons of information on how to get registered for the Paintball Combine that is going to be going on in Arizona at the end of January. I will be there. Ryan Greenspan will be there. Tyler Harmon, Victor Gamboa, the G2 staff, Rusty Glaze. It's going to be an awesome event. There's going to be plenty more coaches and pro players that will be there to assess your skills, see, if you have what it takes. And we will be working with you guys. It's an awesome, fun event. One of my favorite ways to start the season. We better see you there. Bottom line, better see you there. All right. Without further ado, this episode was another banger with the one and only Michael Hinman. Obviously, Mike Hinman is well known throughout the industry, one of the top pro players back in his day. Started San Diego Aftermath, led the team to a ton of victories, built a legendary franchise from the ground up, and is now the owner of APX Paint, also the owner of the WCPPO, which is a very successful West Coast regional league. He's doing so many great things for the sport of paintball. Mike is just the man. You guys know who Mike Hinman is. I don't need to tell you. So without any more talking from myself, we're going to jump right into the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Big Daddy Hinge, what's happening?
Hinchmeister.
First guest to be back on the show twice. This is your second one.
The people requested, you have listened.
They have
delivered.
Indeed. I love it, dude. I feel like I've gotten to see a ton of you the last couple of weeks.
I made it on here twice before Bear got on here. I'm pretty stoked about that. Where's Bear at? Can we bring him in here so I can give him a hard time about all that trash?
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to. I don't know if he wants to come on.
He doesn't want the smoke on the show. We've asked him. He said he was going to. He bailed. It's kind of a bummer.
Sure we get this clip out there because I'd love to get on here and roast his ass talking all that booty chatter about Ryan Greenspan not being a good player.
Yeah.
Oh man, that
MVP,
didn't even register
baby.
to me. That didn't even register. Wow, he's been pretty quiet since then.
I mean,
World champ.
it was funny though when you guys won World Cup that day. He called me. I was out on a hike and I had my phone in my car and I got back and I had missed FaceTimes from him. And I should have answered him because he would have been eating a big pile of crow. Let me tell you.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Ryan played phenomenal.
Ryan played out of his mind. 100%.
But that's what we talked about last time. He's got to go get up in there because you know when the bombs start falling, like the dude's like a superhero, right? Like he sees it coming, and you know he's in the middle of the field, and he knows like I'm gonna go trade with that dude at any point, but I'm gonna shoot this dude and this dude, and then go get a 2 or 3 piece out of it, and it really opens the game up for you know yourself on the D side, Marcelo if he's back in the home. Like man, you see 3-4 dudes walking off. It's a high probability chance you guys are going to win that point. You know what I mean? Like just what it is.
Let's be clear though. I played with Ryan, obviously many years. Tyler, you too, over in Europe. Ryan, it wasn't just World Cup. He always plays like this. And
that's right.
It's more so the tougher the tournament gets, the deeper, like Sunday is when he starts playing his best. I've always said there's definitely events where Ryan has like an okay prelims, you know, and people were kind of talking shit. I'm like, dude, Sunday morning, I know what you're about to do. You're about to feast on everybody. It's Ryan Greenspan, man. So the shit that Bear says is kind of silly. Always has been. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm like, dude, Ryan's not our issue. Ryan is not. It was never the issue.
But like, man, Ryan in the right spot, like up where the bombs are falling.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, all the years and all the aftermath teams playing against Dynasty, and we've probably practiced each other more than any other 2 teams have practiced, right? From day one to today, like anytime, and this is no knock at anybody else that's ever donned the Dragon jersey. I mean, mine's right there, you know.
There we go.
But like when Ryan's on the field, like when he comes off G1 Ryan, you're like, man, I feel like my probabilities just went way up to win this game. I don't know how many times, and I mean, as I say that, both of you have turned around 3-on-1s and just made me like throw my shit on the ground and be like, I don't even know how to coach that one. You know what I mean? But when
you did coach it. That's the thing. You did coach it.
True. But like when Ryan's
you're our coach, Mike. You're our coach, brother.
You guys have a great coach, man. You know what's funny is when the time came for me to step down in Dynasty, because I didn't think we were getting the results. I truly knew in that moment, like Rusty is the guy. And like in other sports, not that paintball is as cool as other professional sports. But like I really was at peace with the like knowing like Rusty's the guy. Like he has way more X's and O than I am. Little less passion, little more X's and O analytics. But it was like, dude, this guy, like in all of our teams, because Rusty was playing, right? He was at the back end of his career. But you're like, man, that he's saying that like as the guy that was coaching, it's like, fuck, dude, here's the clipboard, man. Like, just go ahead and take over. And I'm not even going to take it personal. Like, please run this because you're the guy.
And dude, we're so lucky sitting here to have been coached under you too. Like this is all Aftermath and Dynasty alumni here.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, one thing I realize now, if I could, like with a team, get Rich Telford out there for a weekend.
Oh, dude, my
get Bob Long out there for a weekend. And, you know, some guys may not quite click with what they're saying. Joey Blue. I mean, Joey Blue doesn't get enough credit for being one of, like, that
he was
guy
amazing.
Damage was having a middle of the pack, you know, seasons time and again. And then Joey comes back. It's gotten better. He went to Mutiny. They became a top level semi-pro team under Joey. Like his pedigree speaks. And I think if you could get different coaches, different weekends to run on a team, it would really open up people's eyes. Like when I went to Modesto for my first Rich practice when he was an Ironman coach, bro, he exposed me. Like I didn't even make it both days. Saturday night, I was driving home because I was so bad fundamentally, and Rich exposed it, right? Like he just said, I mean, there are guys out buying Hyperball tube snap shooting. I'm like, fuck we doing here, man? Like us here playing X-ball, you know what I mean? Like, but he exposed it. And I think if you could have different coaches and systems, it would definitely help, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's good for all you guys to have had all these, like for yourself, Tyler, Bob.
Oh my God.
Bob's a loud
animal,
gregarious character, right? Great man, great human being, but like he's different. And then Rusty is probably on the other side of that, right? He's not that dude, but he takes so much from it, right?
Oh man,
doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger, right?
Dude, it's been I sometimes I sit back and I think about all the coaches that I've had, because I've played under like Joey as well, and like, God damn, man, I've just been able to pick so many different people's minds and outlooks and have that passion, have that X's and O's, and be able to bring it all together and then put my own spin on it as my player, you know, that I am, and then just try and do the best we can to go out there and win tournaments. It's been crazy. It's been insane.
The evolution of life, right? Like, Listen
Seriously,
and
dude.
absorb, right? Observe
Yeah,
and absorb.
we've been
Number
lucky to
one.
have a lot of, yeah, absolutely. We've been lucky to have a lot of really great players and minds in the game to absorb from. Like
Yeah.
that's, you know, and Mike, you really paved that path for me, just kind of like Bob did for Tyler, you know, at a young age, to be exposed to all of that. And that's why, again, you know, when we found out that Aftermath was having a little tryout kind of thing going on yesterday, you know, Rainey put together a little group chat, me, Mouse, some of the other guys, Kyle, we're like, dude, of course we're going out there. Are you kidding me? And so hopefully that's going to be a regular thing. Like what's your plans with all that, Mike? I do want to touch base with you on the whole Aftermath situation and what's going on.
Yeah, you know, so the Aftermath situation is it's a situation like we've never seen in paintball, right? I bought a paint manufacturing facility, right? There's only 3 of us. There's Recoil in Mexico that's also co-owned, I believe we can say, by HK now. It's Mike Bretto makes great paint. There's us and there's GI. And when I bought that factory, I knew there was going to be a lot of work, but I didn't realize the extent. And my partner, Alex Keys, you know, we would go to tournaments and stuff would not get done the right way when we were gone, or, you know, batches of paint wouldn't get made. Things weren't right. And it reminds me of like Opie up at Dave Thomas up at GI, which is now the chief operating officer. He's the guy in charge up at the factory. If Opie, you don't see Opie at a lot of tournaments anymore, right? And
I miss
he's a
him,
great
man.
dude,
Yeah.
because he's up at the factory. And if he's not there with gel on his fingertips, like physically going through it, things just don't go right. So at that moment, it was like, man, this is starting to cost us money, right? Like big numbers, tens of thousands of dollars we're losing. And it's like, I got to step back. So 2 years ago when I stepped back, it was like, you know, I'm stepping back. The team guys talked about it for a day. They had talked to John Anucci, and it was like, we're going to bring John in. His son's going to play on the team. We're going to keep the team together, and we're going to do this. And I mean, it'd be no different than like you guys on Dynasty. If it was the same situation and one guy that was running it stepped back, but it's your team, and you guys said, we want to do this. I mean, of course, it's your team, man. You are in this pro spot, rock out. You know what I mean? Like, I told Tom Cole, like, if something happens, I'll pay the entries. I'll give them paint. I still gave them paint this year. Like, I will help this team out. I just don't have the time to be there. And 2 years ago, I did go to Cup because I was going to Cup to try to help. So it's never been a
you always want to be there.
Totally. It wasn't a divorce situation, right? It was just, I have to step back. And I'm also not going to undermine the next coach that comes in. Like when I step back with Dynasty, I'm gone. Like let's cut this here, cut the tape, and let the next guy take on. So that happened. And over time, it's, you know, the original thing was it was the guys who earned it. Frank, Tom, Barga, Jeebs, Mesa, Cece, Johnny Greer, like all these guys that earned it, it was their spot. And then over time, it started to change. Guys got replaced, you know. I'm not putting any blame on this. I'm just simply telling the story over the last 2 years. They go to Vegas. What was it, third or fourth place they got or whatever? Yeah, they did good, top 4, which was really good, you know. And then
dude, they impressed me at that tournament. I was like, okay.
It was the Hindenburg, right? Like it went up in flames, and the players have a lot of blame in that. The coaching staff has some blame in that. But here we are 2 years later now. There's nobody left. The team is now a Midwest team, and you know, like. I've kind of struggled with that because that's not.
How did that happen? How did it go to the Midwest?
John took it over, and John's from Chicago, right? So he lives there. I mean, you could say the guy running the team or the coach of the team lives there. Yeah. Naturally, it's now that's where he lives. I mean, if you're in Arizona and you're the boss of a team, guys are probably going to be practicing around you. Sure. But as guys dropped out or guys quit, it's easy to pick up local guys, and a lot of guys have been picked up in that area. God bless those guys. Like, I'm happy for them. The issue I run into,
even for like the local areas around too, it also adds another pro team to that area that people can strive to, you know, to join in on.
But as the year was going on this year, it's like, you know, there's been some public spectacles that have been made. There's always two sides to it. Like, you know, John pushes Thomas Mantoni. I almost ran Thomas Mantoni over with a car one time. You know what I mean? Like, he thought he was going to stare me down, and he ran over the minivan. You know what I mean? Like, I love Thomas. Thomas runs his mouth a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But some things that happen, you know, the sponsors start reaching out.
Also, an old Aftermath player. You know,
Thomas is an old Aftermath, and he's a friend of mine. Like, I genuinely like Thomas. We've all broken Cracker
He's
Barrel.
the man.
You know, so you know that happens. The sponsors start reaching out because, again, they sponsor that name, but a lot of that comes back through me. And it's like, guys, I don't like, I wasn't there. Like, I can't answer for another man's actions. Again, and the story that nobody hears in that is 30 minutes later, they're all hugging each other and everybody's friends again, and NYX and them share a house together. So it's not what people on the internet made it out to be.
Every time. That's how it always is. You know what I mean?
But we get to this point where, as going into Cup, like, I reached out to John and I said, hey, man, the team, like, we're going in the wrong direction here. Like, and that's such a tough one for me to question, you know, like, I don't want to throw any shade or any of that on the guys. So World Cup comes, they scored 5 points, dead last place. And it's like, man,
it's time for you to get in there.
Like, something's got to change. And, you know, John had always said, like, if you, like, it's your spot, and we have tons of text messages, it's your spot. If you ever want it, come back. And it's like, man, I'm here. Like, I went to World Cup, not this year, but last year, to help with the team. And, you know, we get home for World Cup, and a lot of players locally have been like, dude, you need to take it back. It needs to come back here. And a lot of you alumni guys have said it's just not the same team, right? And if I would have known we could have changed the name 2 years ago, maybe we changed the name. They call it Aftershock and go their own way again or whatever it is. But that's not what it is. And it's San Diego Aftermath, right? So now we come to this place where, like, I've got to make the most difficult call I've ever made and tell somebody, like, hey, man, the time has come. And in that phone call that was made last week, the whole dynamic of it shifted. It's now that I can have the Aftermath name back, but they would like to keep the pro spot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's an interesting one, huh? And I'm really blown away.
Real quick. Didn't they get last place?
Yeah, but nobody's getting relegated.
Okay, because the shortened season. That makes sense. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Totally. And, you know, I've reached out and said that, you know, like, there's a player or two on the team, ownership's family members, that, like, if you guys want to come out here, like, come stay in my house with me and my family, you know, the Aftermath way, like, roll out. But, like, this needs to, and, you know, you talk to the other teams in that area, the blast camp guys and so on, and guys are like, dude, there's 3 dudes at practice. Like, they're not taking it serious. You know, the extracurricular is starting to add up. Yep. And that just can't be something that San Diego Aftermath is, right? And it's funny because a guy out here from the Pirates team, friend of mine, said that, you know, be careful, like, your name and your reputation could get dragged through the mud. And I was like, man, it's a paintball team. Like, I don't listen, if you come to become the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, you know, it's black and silver, and you're going to get some penalties and talk some trash. That's just what it is, right? You go to Green Bay, you're putting cheese on your head. You know, with Aftermath, what is expected, and it's just gone a different direction. So the time had come, and that's kind of where we're at now. We're waiting to hear back from what ownership on that side wants to do. We've obviously talked to the league about the legalities of what they're saying. I mean, the next step is lawyers.
That's pretty crazy, bro. Yeah, that's insane.
Wow. But I mean, what? And then furthermore,
right?
what? Like, what do you give the spot? Like, go ahead and take the spot, get relegated in a year?
Yeah. So you may be taking the divisional journey back again to the pros.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that,
dude. Like, I would, even if that's what it came to. If there's anybody who's gonna make sure that the boys are ready to go and rock out there, you know, it's gonna be you. And you know, just know that I
have a unique advantage, right? I own one of the 3 factories. So there's literally no team that will play more paintball than us, because that's what we do at the factory. Like, we're not some big corporate conglomerate. We make a little bit of paint. We go shoot some paint. We're out back shooting a Titman, 50 cal, checking paint. Like, that's who we are. We're a small cottage company. But we will be ready. And I said this on a post a little bit ago. I don't care if it's Division 4. Like, I really like, I don't.
It's the culture, man.
Totally. But like, when it comes to respect in the game, I need a second chest for the amount of medals that the respect that you guys give me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to prove this to anybody. I want to do this. Like, Alex Keys is my partner. He's my friend. Dude wants to play paintball. Let's ride. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like one of you guys, if you weren't playing, you called me and said, Hinge, let's get something together. Like, when we got the 10 together a couple years ago. Damien, Ryan reached out and was like, yo, let's put a 10-man together. If you're an OG SD Aftermath alumni, say less. Like, let's do it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. So if I have to take the divisional route, I'm fine with it. I mean, but then again, everything I've done before this moment really means nothing tomorrow, right?
That's
like,
crazy.
I might have a pedigree in the game, but that doesn't mean we're going to win, but I'm okay with it. Like, if we go to semi-pro or Division 2 and whoever Ralph boys whoop our ass, or Uni beats us They beat us twice. We beat them 3 times, but maybe this time they 5-0 us across. I'm okay with that, right? Like, as long as we have young players that, again, like, what is Aftermath? And that's a question that we've really been soul searching on this side. Like, what is it, right?
Dude, we should do something on Instagram. Yeah.
It's about getting guys together and making them better paintball players, right? Like, Aftermath is, and we're all alumni, but you guys are all part of an academy, right? And when it's time to go back to your respected teams, like, people, is Marcelo and Rainey and Mouse coming back? I would never ask them to come back because they're on their teams. And, like, we know when we all see each other, we don't need the pro patch with the star on it to know what we are, right? Like, we know, man, Tyler, you in town? Roll up, like, grab some cases of paint, come play paintball. If some Florida dudes, Ralph boys are out here, come play some paintball. Blast Camp dudes, come play some paintball. Like, some Texas.
Dude, there's nobody better.
Come play
There's
paintball.
nobody better in the freaking sport, dude, for the culture of the game. You've nurtured literally, I could name off countless top tier players that have come through your organizations, and what you do for players, what you do for the culture of the game, at the grassroots level, getting players into play tournaments and nurturing stars, because that's what you've done, man. The stars, though, the lucky part is I got to help a lot of young men. And, Terry Fong said this. Yeah, T Fong.
Young men ought to be, like, turning them into men. And I was lucky to get a lot of good pupils, right? A lot of students of the game. Listen, Marcelo is going to be where Marcelo's sitting, whether I was there or not. I may have helped that path, but ultimately I opened up a doorway and dude walked through it. That was all him. You know what I mean? That wasn't the Mouse. That wasn't me. Dalton, that wasn't me. Rainey, that wasn't me. These guys were destined for greatness. I just happened to be the conduit to get them there quicker in Southern California, where a lot of great players have hailed out of.
Well, I will say the programming that you provide is pretty serious.
100%. Because I got to say, Mike, I think we've talked about this. Maybe we talked about it on the last show, or who knows when we talked about it. But there's still so many instances where we're teaching clinics, whatever it is, and just philosophies from day one that you instilled, that you did program into us, have made us these complete players that understand the game. And, paintball's not absolute. Nothing's in 100%. So we understand that. But the philosophies that you taught us from a young age are, like, in all of the Aftermath players. There's a certain level of discipline and understanding of how to, succeed in this game. And
self-sacrifice, right? There's got to be self-sacrifice. And we're in a generation now of self-indulgence, right? It's cool to be messed up or high or drunk. Like, that's cool now.
Right.
When you guys were kids, like Marcelo's never been a drug addict or done drugs, period. But can you imagine if you showed up to practice high?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It would have been your last practice on the team. Yeah. That would have been it. Yeah. Keep it moving. Like, I would have still tried to help you. And I've tried to help a lot of our players that have taken a bad path, but, like, that would have been it. And we instilled the culture, but that's just life, right? Like, and unfortunately in our society, we've melted down to the point that, like, just being a screw up is just normal, right?
I think that's another big reason why I know a lot of us, I'll just speak for myself, not any of the other old Aftermath guys, but we're excited to see you get back involved, because to us, Aftermath meant more than just a paintball team. It really was a lifestyle, a culture. It was like how you approach everything, not just paintball practice. It was this hard work and just complete dedication and sacrifice to the program to be the best at whatever it is you're doing. Like, that truly is what San Diego Aftermath represents.
Yeah, first one at the field, last one to leave.
Exactly.
Like this weekend when I left, literally there was 3 cars left in the parking lot at the field. That's what it was, right?
Mouse and Rainey left a little early. I will say they're a little late. We left a little early.
But, like, that's what Aftermath is. And I look forward to the journey, man. And I guess cliche as that all sounds, that's really the truth. Like, I look forward to the journey. I could take this journey with a D4 team and I would be happy. Again, I would want to ruin people's days, but, like, that's other teams that we're playing against. Like, that's the journey is what matters, right?
Would Mike, because I heard a few different things. A lot of people were chattering this weekend too, like when you weren't around, about what's going on. I heard someone say that your plan was to have a team for every division next year and build a big Aftermath program that was, like, throughout all the divisions. If you don't get the pro spot, is the plan to make, like, one team to go and earn a pro spot? What happens if you do get the pro spot? What are the different?
We go that direction. So then if this plays out how I think it's going to play out, and if we do get the pro spot, I think, you have to appreciate the severity of the situation going into the pro division, right? let's try not to be last place. Yeah. That's not a shot at anybody. That's just if relegation sits at 20th, be 19th, and let's work our way up. I think we all three of us in this chat know that I can target. Again, I don't think there's any A caliber talent this season floating around. I mean, X Factor made a move. Impacts, I don't know if their move has been official, but we know who's going where there.
Right.
Most of the A level talent is gone now. So now you're B and C level talent in my tier program. I could go after some of those dudes, but if they don't live out in this area and they're not going to be at practice every weekend, what am I going to fly dudes in with COVID going on? Respectfully, I don't want that in my house next to my kids. So enjoy the hotel room, boys. But like, I would rather have a team that's locally built. And maybe I'm wrong, right? I mean,
I don't think so. You know, it's the same thing. Like when I coach teams and it's on a much lower level, Division 4, Division 3, stuff like that right now. But same thing. I'm like, who can practice the most? They might not be as talented as that person that's going to drive in 2 hours or whatever, but who can be there the absolute most to play with the team? Because that's everything. You know, you need to be playing as much paintball as possible together, right? Like to me, I feel like that's 100%. The formula. That's what it always has been to us.
Because the other side of this general manager mindset of building a pro level roster is, do I go get B and C level talent that is kind of already hit their ceiling, right? Like I'm not trying to be rude to anybody. I'm not even going to ever name a name, but do I go get guys that are just a middle of the pack pro player and doesn't really aspire for much? In 5 years, they're going to be out of it. No, I'm okay getting 19th place with a bunch of kids. You know what I mean? Like I'm totally okay with that. But kids that are and you know, something I was stoked with this weekend is there was no negativity, right? Like it was very positive. Some people took some lumps. Like I saw a lot of blood being spilled on that turf. But there was no, you know, F you or this or that. Like you can't do addition by subtraction. You cannot get better by breaking the next man down. Like, listen, we've played against each other. Marcelo, we've both been like, fuck you, like, you know what I mean? But there's also a point where if Marcelo, we could be literally at the worst point we've ever been with one another through our history. Marcelo could walk into me and say, Hinge, I need a hug. It would be there. Like, that's my boy. So are you. Like, you guys all, everybody is. Like, there's no reason in this industry for us to break everybody down. And it's such a, like, Civil War mindset, the North versus the South. You know, like, it really, people are so entrenched in their way of believing. That's our whole society, right? You're right or you're left. Man, you're my friend. I don't give a shit who you voted for. Like, you know, I have a belief, you have a belief, but we're still going to go get PF Chang's tonight. Like, like that's simple.
Dude, these are words.
Mongolian beef one time.
I got that picture from the Iron Man. I see it pops up every year on my thing. Little
B
to live by, man.
Ty, you're right. Yeah, but how about Little B in those photos? I go back and look at a lot of the photos from the Iron Man days. Little Brandon was just such a, and so I imagine that was like me, Tyler, Mouse, you know, at some point, because it's crazy us looking back. Little B's a full grown man now.
Yeah, he's still not that big, but he is fully grown for sure. He's still pretty light. I can throw him over my shoulder.
That's true. That's true. He's got tall, but he's kind of skinny.
Hey, Mike, so when you're looking so you're talking about nurturing these, you know, maybe not A-list players, but players that could be something. What are you looking for in those guys that is going to hopefully give you a player that's going to have the pedigree to step up and make those transitions into the higher levels and higher realms of paintball? What are you looking for?
Grit, hands down, grit. Like, this is what it is, you know, like
mentality,
respect and much love to like Marcelo's dad, because I knew him and he passed away recently. I love the man. He was a good dude. It wasn't hard to figure who Marcelo was going to be when I knew his father, right? It doesn't mean you're a millionaire, you're this or you're that, but like you talk to a man and you shake a man's hand and you realize like, this is a salt of the earth. This dude's got some minerals, you know what I mean? Like this is a real person. That's what you're like. Mouse. We always talk about like, man, nobody wanted to fuck with Mouse because nobody wanted to deal with his mom. Like she would. Remember when he broke his arm? We jumped on a bunker and he flew up in the air and landed on his arm and broke it.
This was like, a week before Huntington Beach.
Right. I wasn't even worried that his arm was broken. We'll go get that fixed. But it's like, man, who's making this call to Mouse's mom? Like, I want no part of this situation.
Gwen, we got some bad news, Gwen. Bad news is for us too. Damn it.
You hear me lacing up my shoes, about to become a track star when she comes after me with a shoe in her hand or a bat. But no, you're just looking for gritty people, right? Like This weekend, I say I'm going out there and 50, 100 people post. And I can drop some names in Southern California. And these kids say, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be out there. And Sunday night, I'm sitting thinking back through the day. And it's like, this dude didn't show up. So I talked some trash to him. This dude didn't show up. So I talked. And it's like, these same dudes wonder why they're not pro players because you didn't show up. Hey, I don't got paint. Totally cool. Observe, and absorb. Like, absorb this. Right. These are free reps. When my son was playing football on a really good Pop Warner team, they said, man, the coach said, steal reps. If you're not in on this drill, be standing there paying attention to this drill. Watch what the next guy is doing wrong. But these kids don't want to do that. Again, it comes back to that instant self-gratification. Me. That don't work. Like, that don't work. Like
in the real,
Psalms picked up a bunch of new guys on the Outlaws. Those are gritty people.
Yeah.
Like the Franz kid. He's been playing paintball a long time. He's a gritty dude. The kid from SRP that got picked up there.
Mike, I got a kid for you. Honestly, I don't even know if I should say his name, but he's been kind of floating. He's fucking perfect. I'm gonna say his name, Trent. Trent, I know you're out there. I know you're gonna listen. Trent Nita. He's come up through the Team USA camp. He's from Utah. He's kind of moved back and forth. He's 17, maybe he's 18 now.
Sounds like he needs to move out to California.
Yeah, he's down. That's what I'm saying. He's been honestly going wherever the paintball is,
Yeah.
And
wow, man. Like, isn't anybody that can dedicate the time and be here, the door's open, like it's not, but if guys can, 2 weekends out of the month like that, respectfully, that's not going to work for us. And it's not going to work for you. So let's just not even go down this road. Marcelo, you asked a question about building camps throughout the divisions.
Right.
I mean, we're willing to build as many camps need to be built, right? Like, we're not going to pay for people's stuff. If people are willing to pay their own way, we're willing to help. Where it becomes a little touchy is the WCBL. Like, no player that plays underneath me can play in my league. That is just, it's just what it is, right? That's a conflict of interest. I do believe we build champions out here, right? Like, not everybody, but we have a history of making really good paintball players. So then some guys that we've built or worked with go back into my league, win an event. People are going to, I realize this running a league, I have like 4 winners every event and everybody else just gets screwed by the rest, right? Like, nobody really takes, I shouldn't say nobody. The Phoenix Rising camp, there's some camps that are really good people out there. But a lot of teams really think that there's some like collusion. Like, crazy to me, right? Because then guys come rep with me.
Mike, that's at every league across the world. I promise you. I deal with every league I go to that I coach, whatever team it is. Oh yeah, that's their home field. The rest, we don't have any chance of winning here. I'm like, why'd you pay to play then? If you really believe that, you're just like, come on, man.
Dumbfounds me. But then you look at our champions, right? Division 5, Scottsdale, Arizona, the Elevation Rebuild Camp. A great group of guys from out there. Division 4 from Davis Paintball. Right? Division 3 was the Gummy Bear guys. And Division 2, again, was Regime from up north, which is like a team that didn't even play paintball, right? It's just a bunch of old school guys, you know what I'm talking about, that all come together and play paintball together. So you have one team in Southern California that won, 3 more didn't win?
Yeah.
Dave Baines, Fusion, Northern California has taken more of my series cups home than any other team in Southern California probably ever will.
Damn.
Like, those guys have, every event was like, yo, Dave or Fetty, like, here's like $10,000, bunch of trophies. If you want to give them back to me, using this event, like, so now I can see a semi-pro. I could see a Division 2 team for sure. I definitely see that around here. We can get into the NXL. I think their plans at this point. I don't know if there's going to be a Vegas event. When I say I don't know, I don't believe there will be. That's nothing to do with paintball politics. That has to do with American politics.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to go to a state that will shut down. Listen, whatever you personally believe, let's leave that aside. Like, they're just going to go to places that are not going to shut down.
Right.
So we're going to see Florida, possibly Texas. And that's what we have to do. Man, Tom Cole, as many hand grenades as that dude catches, like, can you imagine being in his shoes? You're going to try to run an event, and if a state like Vegas could shut down. Dude,
I couldn't imagine.
And I was like, man, if this goes another week, California is going to go into full tilt shutdown mode.
Thankfully, and even I know at we're trying our best to do the best we can and social distance and do everything we can. So if we all just, play by the rules and keep these tournaments going, then we should be okay.
Well, that's the question you have to ask is, do we have tournaments next year? And if we do, there's some risk in it. Facts.
Yeah.
There's some common sense to it that we all must do to try to stay safe.
Yeah.
But I think that might be also part of the reason and part of the influence of having the new kind of format that Tom is rolling out, where there's 3 majors and then a bunch of kind of regional-esque events that pros can also play in, because then you have these events that are smaller capacity, right? You don't have as many people, which could make it easier for it to fly in some states, if there's a 1,000, person limitation or something like that. What do you think about that structure of things, Mike? Did you talk to Tom about that?
Yeah, we had a long talk. I mean, 2 sides of that coin, right? I mean, so now let's play devil's advocate on this.
You run the WCPPL, and there's probably going to be events that are in the state, I'm sure, in California, I would imagine.
Yeah. We know they're going up to Dave Bainesfield. That's never been a question. I mean, the secrets stay around that place like a screen door on a submarine, right? Like, but, good luck, I mean, I think that the NXL is attempting to work with us all. Do the regional leagues have a reason? Like, is there going to be a regional down in MVPS? I don't even know the MVPS, dude. But that guy has been a GI soldier pushing the format, but then now you're going to come in and cut into his pocket. So I think some of the regional leagues are going to feel some type of way about things. Tom, I don't have the final regional. Obviously, with the WCBL, we'd love to work in conjunction with them. There's can't do addition by subtraction. I would love to work with them, but it's got to make sense, and it's got to make sense for my players out here.
Absolutely.
You run one of the best. I
was just going to say that
regional leagues, Mike, because I was just out there. Was that 2 weeks ago now, right? Yeah. And dude, it's just we spoke about it there. Your event is one of the best events, period, to be at. The vibe, the amount of people, and the talent. It's the WCPPLs have built a reputation for sure, especially on this side of the country. That's where all the good talent plays regionally. It's just.
I mean, look at the teams that Hunters destroyed their division at World Cup. I believe it was Division 3. Yep. Gray Area won Division 2, and both those teams didn't win here, right? That's And again, that's not that they're not arguably the best teams, but out here, the talent. I mean, Division 3, I look at the bracket sometimes, and I'm like, "Ooh, those poor sons of bitches, they're gonna have all that's a Sunday bracket in Division 3 playing the prelims, and somebody goes 0-4, and they won the tournament before." But it's awesome. But that's what paintball for us has always been, right? We don't deal. It's not that the West Coast is better than anybody else. It's we don't deal with snow. I mean, if I could flip this thing around, there's not a cloud in the sky at my house. I had to take my hoodie off today because it was too hot.
Middle of December.
Where Straza and the guys up in New Jersey are getting dumped on, right? They're getting snow. Everybody's getting snow. Cody Mikowski up there in the Midwest North is, playing indoors because that's the only thing they can play, and they're still doing it. But it gives us an advantage out here.
It does.
Well, and you talk to the players, and there's just a pedigree that goes with even your events too. You provide top quality events, you take care of the players, and you really care about the industry that you're involved in, and it shows.
Yeah, because for any event promoter, I talk to a lot of people. Anybody that's ever got a question, they reach out. I try to give my 2 cents. They make $1 out of it. I don't put profit above quality, right? It's about the players. Marcelo was a kid. We were all kids playing XPSL and these leagues. There would be 150 teams, and you won. And you got 2 Angels and 3 bottles of gun oil. What the? I don't even got to take my shoes off to do this math. $1,000, 150, not getting anything back. So when it became my turn, and I'm never gonna back down on that, right? Our only issue is this: at what point do we keep scaling it up, right? And you get into the politics of paintball, right? If we're gonna tell the truth, right? I'm the only American paint manufacturer with an American league, and every year I send a text to my friends in that league and say, "Hey, I got 60 grand burning a hole in my pocket. I'd love to sponsor the league," and it's never happened.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, you're talking about the NXL, having your paint at the NXL, yeah.
Yeah,
because there was you guys did have paint at one of the I remember it was a World Cup or something. It was like when you first took over APX. I remember.
We had
APX
paint in
there,
somebody
right?
else's boxes, right?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Your guys'
Yeah.
sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Like we made paint for them for a while.
Sure.
We've
Yeah.
made some paint here and there for them. We're still friends, right? Like it's not.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
HK needs their own ability to control their own product vertically from being made to sold. They need full control. They didn't have that with us because we are our own entity. So they got Mexico. There's no listen. Mike Bretto, those guys make great paint, man. HK makes great paint. Period.
And I think all of you guys, have been stepping it up. Everyone is it's a battleground for sure, right?
Well, that's what happens when there's competition.
Competition,
exactly.
yeah. It's capitalism, right? It pushes innovation. It makes us listen, you go in my office, I've got Mexico paint, I've got China paint, I've got India paint, I've got Canada paint. I have it all. We do. Because I have to make sure, like, how's this person's fill? How's the shell? They're using more virgin. Yeah, it's the truth, man.
It's a science, dude. And
for sure.
Man, I can't even imagine what that whole ball of yarn is like.
You want to make $1 million? You want to make $1 million in paintball? Start with $2 million.
Mike, real quick, and only since you brought it up, I want to dig into it just a little bit. So it costs $60,000 to become a platinum sponsor of the league, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so they won't allow you to do that. You're willing to pay the $60,000 and you can't become a platinum sponsor. How come? Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I'm sure the other paint companies would say if we bring somebody else in, it's going to be too diluted. We won't make money. I mean, there's the on the record discussion with people and the off the record. The biggest companies will say they don't make money. Right? You're not making money because you're selling this field paint for $5 above the low cost you would give them. And then you're giving them credit back on paint. So I'm sure you're not making money. Gotcha. But if you're not making money, like that is not a league issue. That is a you issue. Like, and there's where the politics and again, I look back to the 7-man days, right? Like where we all played. You'd be in San Diego at Qualcomm playing, and if you couldn't afford the Draxus, which was the best paint, hands down, I was sponsored by Pev. We got the Draxus paint. It was the best paint ever. But if you couldn't afford that, there was XO, there was Severe, there was Zap. There was at times there was
a lot.
The Chronic, I remember. Yeah, there was all sorts. There was all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you had other options. I mean, we get into a point. If China wants to come over here and pay $60,000 to put China ball on the shelf, rock out, dude. Like, I don't take it personal, but my point on the other side of it is, at some point, my company will have no other choice but to start holding more paintball events.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you can sell your paint.
That's right.
Like, and I'm not saying that again, man.
That's just the way it is,
and they're going to take it some type of way, which I really don't care because they've already blackballed me out of it. But like, what's the next step? Like offering $30,000 in an open division?
Yeah. There you go. Get it rolling.
Ooh, I like it. You heard it here first on Play the Game podcast.
And I'm going to be the first one with sidearms too, Tyler. So
baby.
Roll up.
Let's go. Sign me up.
Sidearms. We got sidearms. It's a wrap.
You said the magic words.
You got to take your $30,000 check with your sidearm and a grill out. Make sure you get that mustache tight.
Dude, the big mustache, big grill, big check, big sidearm, all
big everything.
It's a wrap. Yeah, unfortunately, politics do bleed through everything in life. Yeah, and
well, like for us to become a platinum sponsor, we have to sponsor the league for a year first.
Right.
For $60,000 and we can't bring our paint to the events. We can't have paint boxes at the event, any of it. But like for me, besides these sweet t-shirts that I have and some nice jackets, like what am I going to sell for $60,000?
You have to already. Hey Mike, when was that rule put in place?
It's been there. To be fair, totally fair, it's been there. ProShar had field set up for a season. There was a ProShar field divisional before ProShar was allowed to be at the event. So that's a standard.
Gotcha.
But now as a company, you have to ask yourself, do you want to spend $120,000 to be a paint sponsor? $120,000. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but I think I could come up with, 10,000, 20,000 cases of 10,000 cases of paint, give or take as a manufacturer and just send them to random paintball fields. I'd probably get more response. I could pay somebody to go drive around and hand cases out at SC Village, Jungle Island and ASG and get more feedback, right? Because then on top of that, you've got paintball teams that are the definition of non-loyal. I'm APX, right? I hope you're HK. And if you are, stick with HK. Those dudes are sponsoring you. Don't be a sellout. But these young kids, oh man, I had a problem with this. Bro, you want a $17 case of paint. What the fuck you think you're gonna get for $17? Like, you go to the dealership with 10 grand and expect to get a Bentley. You know, but like there's no loyalty in the sport. What, to go after a bunch of teams that will sell out? If somebody offers them that case for $1 cheaper, they're gone.
Yeah,
that's
I've seen that, and that's a bummer too, because the market is what drives what the paint companies do as well, you know. And unfortunately, because field owners and players they want cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Sometimes and actually, this is a great question for you. Like you, in order to stay competitive, you have to compromise the quality of the ball at some point, which totally sucks to have to do that, you know. Like,
listen, man,
and it's just the nature of the beast.
If you think that a ball can be made for less than $20, with virgin gelatin and real peg fill and like not just cake starch, you're on something. Like it's north, and that's manufacturing costs, labor, materials, box, all that. Then let's also put into the fact, and we've seen a big company in the news with bankruptcy and yada yada yada, and the numbers we're throwing around there, like tens of millions of dollars. Then they have to make a profit, and they have to pay for their 200 or 300 employees. We don't have nearly that. HK doesn't, neither does anybody. But like, so when their paint is like, you want a good case of paint, go buy GI 5-star.
There's
no punchline to that. Go buy GI 5-star. That's it, man. But if you're going to go to HK and say, man, this level 2 ball didn't shoot as good as the level 5 ball. I've shot the level 5 ball. It's a good paintball. I've shot Defy from China's high-end ball from ANS. It's a great paintball. We ran out at WC event 2. We went down to ANS. They took care of us, got some Defy level 5 or level 3 tournament. It was a fantastic paintball.
What is the big difference maker between a shitty paintball and a really good paintball? Like, what is it? Is it something in the process
that goes into it? The amount of, like, because again, like you're talking about, so at some point we gained too much capacity on the market. At some point in paintball, there was and I'm sure it has to do with our free trade agreements. China brings product in. Their country is helping to subsidize some of the materials. They use, I don't know what the sweatshop labor, slave labor, whatever you want to call it. They don't pay people a minimum wage. But all of us here say, you know, America, like buy American. Let's get people, let's raise the minimum wage to $25 an hour, whatever it is. But then these same people will be the ones that go to Walmart and buy China. And you're like, you can't get it both ways. China doesn't pay their people. Come talk to my employees. The guy I park next to every morning has a nicer car than I do. You know what I mean? Like, dude makes bread. He's out of high school. He doesn't have a college degree. He's making like really good money. I'm happy for him. I'm happy he can take care of his family. But you can't have it both ways. So what happens is, you know, a field will say, or a store will say, well, I'm getting it from Defy for X.
Of course.
Well, then the next company, in a race to the bottom, drops their price by $1 and another $1 and another $1 and another $1. And all of a sudden you get to a point where you're like, man, I'm making $2 on making. There's times we make $2 on a box of paint.
Jeez.
So what do you expect? Like, what do you expect? And people throw stones at the biggest guy, right? They love to talk down. You're not talking bad about GI's 5-star. You're talking about low end paint. It's their low end paint.
That's right. Yeah. What do you expect?
John Rathbun. John Rathbun is the best sales rep in paintball, in my opinion, hands down. Yeah. Right? Like John and I don't chop it up all the time. John, if you come to him and say, "Hey, I just need a good paintball," he's gonna be like, "Oh, we got this 3, 4, 5-star." But everybody wants the bottom, and then they stop and look at you and they're like, "Man, this car don't drive itself."
Yeah.
Pay
right.
$5,000 for it. Bro, this is Tesla. This is the hoopty.
Yeah.
And we need the paint to be good for that quality of experience.
Yes,
you know, that's the biggest thing for anybody, like a new player. If they come out and have a shitty day with paintball, they're not going to come back, you know?
They're going to go play laser tag.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cleaner. Exactly. The moms and dads like myself can pull up, drop the kid off, like yourself, Tyler, can drop your kids off. They run around, get in the car, they pass out. We're like, yes. They're not bleeding or taking 2 paintballs to the head and getting a concussion. Right. That is the worst thing for the sport, right? Like, because they're shooting rocks.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, Mike, it's so funny you say, because I've said that exact thing about not only is it an issue when you have paint that is so bad it doesn't shoot straight, it bounces, because that's also frustrating. But when the shell is just so hard that it hurts way more, that's terrible for people that are out there for the first time. Forget just kids. There's 15, 16, 20-year-old men that, get shot in the neck. They go out there for the first time. They don't really know quite what to expect. Get shot in the neck with a paintball like that. They're not coming back. And
I was talking to the kid that played with you, I think a little bit, Ibarra. Chris Ibarra is his name. He took a ball, and it's a China ball, that he took one to the finger, and he's talking to me yesterday. And I see his hand twitching, right? And I'm always watching people, right? Because you never know when somebody's going to take off. So I'm like watching, because his hand's like twitching weird. And I'm looking at it. It looked like a zombie bit his finger. Like, I know it sounds extreme. And my partner, Alex Keys, and I were talking. He's like, did you see that kid's hand? And I'm like, funny, because he came to talk to me about what he can do to be a better paintball player. Great.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at his hand, and he took a China ball to the hand. And the reason that is because a lot of those balls have so much starch in them. Or some people say they don't have starch. Okay, sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, whatever it is that they're putting in there, because it's cheaper than peg. That's why they put it. It's just cheaper. A pound of starch is cheaper than a pound of peg. That's why they cut it like that. Problem is that ball.
Peg? What's peg, Mike?
Yeah,
peg is the liquid in the ball. Like back in the day, paintballs were pure peg. It's peg 400. It's a clear liquid. It's a tad. It's less than a syrup. Way thicker than water. It's hard, the viscosity of it, to explain it, but it's
what is the ingredients like? What is peg? The ingredient makeup of peg?
Polyethylene glycol is what it is.
Yeah.
You can look it up. It doesn't hurt you. A peg 3350 heavy peg is Miralax. Yeah. If you look at peg 30, which is the binding agent, a lot of people use to keep the ball, the color suspended so it doesn't separate. I mean, most paintballs in theory should be peg, a heavy peg, something that will help keep the color mixed in and not separate very quickly. Yeah. And then, there's some dye, whatever dyes they're using to color the ball, which, I mean, whether it's, I mean, your basic colors, right? Yellow, red, blue, and then you add blue and yellow together and you make green, right? You start getting into art class here. But that's all there should be in a ball. Now, some of the problems we've had in the past with very cheap paintballs that came in is that when peg is, depending on the market, right? Like it fluctuates. Yeah. But let's say peg's 50 cents a pound. It's a liquid, it's a gallon. I mean, a tote's 2,000 pounds. It's 50 cents a pound, but starch is 20 cents a pound. Or oil at Costco, like deep fryer oil, and that's some of the China ball that we had seen in the past is like recycled oil. Wow. Right? Which is very unsanitary, but that's the truth. Yeah, what? And that's where like some of those lighter paintballs, the oil-filled paintballs won't travel as straight because the ball's so much lighter than a peg-filled paintball. So I went to CC Paintball, right, by SC Village.
That's so interesting, dude. Yeah. That's
started selling them paint. And this guy, one of the guys behind the counter, opens a bag, grabs a ball, and puts it on this little digital scale, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I've seen people like looking at the seams, sizing it up. I've never seen somebody weigh a paintball, right? And he goes, 3.2 grams. This is a good paintball. It's heavy. Because other people, some of the, again, the Asian manufacturers will put oil into the ball. It makes it lighter. So when that ball's traveling out, it can just hook, right? It's like having paint in your barrel. It just takes off because it's such a light ball. It swings, right? Some people have mixed peg, starch, and oil together. All three of them, plus a binding agent to try to keep everything together and keep it from separating. So that's the problem. And listen, man, if you go
that's another huge selling point for the paint is like, it's a high quality, it's high quality.
Well, like we're in California and same with our friends up north. Yeah. Our environmental laws are so crazy out here. I would be afraid to touch oil. Like, there's no oil in my facility. Please don't come. Like, But some of these other guys, because it's all a price point. They want to make their margin. You want to pay $17 or whatever it is. I mean, we used to hear crazy numbers out here coming in from China. Yeah. That's simple. I want to pay X. Like, listen, north of 20 on a wholesale level, like 25. Back in the day, RP Sure paint was $80 a case. I never got a bad case. Never once in my life did I break Gator Black.
Yep. That's the crazy thing. When I think back of my early days, when I would buy paintball and they even came in like a suitcase and like these crazy boxes.
The Hellfire.
We'd be taking them on the plane.
Yeah, Hellfire, and even like Midnight, I think came in a box too. Sometimes they would do. but
The
you just didn't have bad days at the field because you were shooting straight. The paint was breaking. It adds to the whole experience. That's what we're playing is paintball,
And it is an experience, but the problem is now that store or that field, and again, I'm not calling them out individually by name, but their only way they feel they can make more money is to break down the cost on the wholesale side. And maybe that's a good move, right? But now the manufacturers on the other side are going to have to lower their price.
Now, do you think, Mike? I'm sure an argument on the other side from these paint companies is that fields are obviously demanding lower prices because players are demanding lower prices. So, if we can provide paint at a lower cost, we might be able to get more players in the door.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that the $5 that you're trying to break your local manufacturer and wholesale down is really going to be that's where all your revenue is going to come from?
I can tell you what I think. That was an objective kind of question, but I personally feel that even if it is the case that it gets more people in the door, you're not going to retain as many. So it's net negative. But
and the issue you run into now is what is the margin that the field should be making, and that's not for any of us to say. It's a business.
Sure,
guys like CPX. We'll use CPX. They're not in business anymore. Paul Dagnino had a great product. He had cool fields. Living Legends at his field. Totally. Tell me all of us wouldn't want to roll up and have our own team.
Totally. Yeah.
But paint was 80 or more a case for new players. But that's a great experience. As a dad, if I can take my two sons and my two stepsons, I have 4 boys in my house, to a paintball field that's got a great product and cool fields, I'll pay $80 a case. I don't care. I do not. It's the experience that we're talking about.
Right.
But now we've gotten to a place on how can we break it down? How can we get it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, right? And I mean, let's just talk the facts.
Yeah.
We've done it. It's not working out well. People aren't having fun playing paintball. We have leaky balls. We have,
Yeah.
Listen, if a manufacturer is not doubling their profit line, which listen, if any of you out there think that as a paint manufacturer, I sell $1 million gross in paint and I make 500,000 at it,
you're crazy.
Dude, I got a factory for you. Come on down. Bring me a check tomorrow. I'm going to grab the 3 pictures of my kids off the wall. You can keep the Aftermath jersey. I'm running out the door and I'm out. Like, you can come run it. Like, my youngest son tells me all the time he's going to run the factory. And I'm like, oh, buddy, you're in for it. Love you, Call, but like, it's a very tough. I was a machinist before. My father was a machinist to die. Right.
Awesome.
Like that's some of my legacy and like that aerospace, all that, there's money in that. There's paintball. There's not money. Listen, mark my words. In 5 years, let's have a follow-up on this. There won't be a new paint manufacturer in the game.
Wow.
I don't, because it doesn't make sense. How much you're going to go spend millions of dollars to make how much?
Well, again, I think it's really hard if it's not a company that already has all the other equipment as well, it's really hard to come in and take a big enough piece of the pie, because these companies they offer these packages to all the teams. It's just the structure of paintball in its current incarnation. Right. And so,
there's our industry as a whole. Is it going direct to consumer? There's companies that have gone direct to consumer. I'm not going to name them, but they're hated by most of the stores. Yeah. But are they wrong for doing it? Time will tell. Time will tell.
And then, can you talk to me about your machining background? You said that you were in the early days with dye.
My dad was, yeah.
Wow,
I was already into paintball. The guy that I was living at a paintball field as a kid, because I was poor as hell as a kid. We got an option to go live there for free, which when you're homeless, pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And the guy knew Aaron Carter. He knew Dave Youngblood. And Dye had moved from Aaron's shop in LA down to San Diego. My dad was a machinist. They hired him. He worked there for a couple of years. And then, like most machinists, moved on. But,
I think last time we had you on the show, you kind of talked a little bit about that, actually. Yeah. Damn, dude, that's so cool.
I used to live with Aaron Carter. I used to live with Aaron Carter, Steve Rabikoff, Brandon Rabikoff, Justin Rabikoff. Like, we all lived in Aaron Carter's house together. Aaron Carter's a legend. He's still alive to this day. I don't really talk to him much.
Family.
Aaron Carter's the drraving force behind that whole situation.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Him and my dad were big friends.
Yeah, great dude.
Carter he's the OG, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's
amazing.
Part of it for me. But it's going to be an interesting next couple of years. I think we're going to see a meltdown on a lot of team sponsorship this year.
Yeah.
Listen, do I think the industry is doing well this year? Yeah. I mean, despite the bankruptcy talks and this, and like, do I think people are doing well? Yes, I think it's kind of going to be a reset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think a lot of guys, I want a ball that's purple and white with off this color, and you're like, no, dude, I got yellow, I got orange, I got white, like I got pink, that's green.
That's what we got.
That, maybe some blue, but besides that, like there were so many custom colors going out. I think a lot of these guys have been able to really dial it down, right? Like, you know, this is what I got, and if you don't want it, then call HK, then call Valken. Like Valken sales reps are great guys too. Call LJ at HK. Like, bye.
I do gotta say, our paint's been shooting pretty damn good. That HK paint has been lighting it up for us recently. I gotta say,
and that's good, right? Like, buy their paint, buy HK, support them. Like, listen, if you're gonna buy paint, do not buy paint from across the Pacific Ocean. Buy if you're not gonna buy my paint. God bless you. Buy HK, buy GI. Do not buy it from somebody else.
Dude, what a man.
We're sending our money somewhere that's not helping guys like us out. Just doesn't make sense.
Mike, I do have a question. You know that paint that it breaks and it like doesn't run anywhere, and a couple minutes later it's like pure chalk.
Yeah, it's starch.
Starch, right? Okay, so that means.
Listen, anybody wants to see if there's starch in the ball? Here's a simple one: get a small water bottle, right? The ones we all drink at the field. Get them in a case, 500 milliliters. Dump out half of it out. Take a paintball, pop a little hole, try not to shoot it all over yourself, squeeze it in the bottle, put the lid on, shake it up, and let's see what you got in about an hour. There's a lot of starch. It'll be sitting at the bottom. If there's oil on it, you'll see oil at the top of it. These are simple tests.
What if it's PEG?
PEG, you won't see it.
It dilutes.
PEG in its natural form is a clear liquid. Like imagine a 275-gallon tote full of clear water. That's what PEG looks like.
Gotcha.
It's not yellow. It's not brown. It's a clear.
Cool. Dude, Mike, you're gonna have kids all over the world.
Shaking bottles.
A water bottle.
You know what's funny for guys like myself, and I don't talk to Bretto much anymore now that he went HK. Like he never reaches out. But I talked to Opie up there at GI. Like for those of us that make paintballs, dude, the shit people say on Facebook is gotta be the funniest. Like I shot some paint. You know, again, we're gonna put APX on it, right? Like. The paint, it was too fresh, it was breaking, it was this, and you're like, those of us that actually make paintballs, a fresh paintball is so soft you can squeeze it together. So if it was too fresh and it was breaking in your gun, it's because it's actually too old and it's gotten super brittle over time. It's not because it's a week old. If it's a week old, it's going to be gummy bears. Like
interesting. This is great.
How about the frozen paintball theory?
Oh my God. Every LTL driver that pulls up to APX and they're like, what are you doing in there? Well, we make paintballs. Oh, like paintballs? Yeah, man, like paintballs. Yeah. Oh man, my friend, he froze some paintballs. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine? So like when we all shoot paint, WCVL, it was 28 degrees in the morning, right? It was frigid.
Yeah.
If
Marcelo told me that, I was like, no way. Oh my God.
Dude, it was some of the coldest I think I've ever been at a paintball field. I wasn't ready.
It was rough.
It was rough.
By Sunday, I was wearing pants, and I never wear pants.
I was there at 5:30 in the morning. We had a game at 6:30. I was like, hey, Mike, sunrise isn't until 6:37. We really playing this one?
Yeah, we have no choice. We have 8 hours of daylight.
Starting on time, baby.
Yeah. But like if you froze a paintball, it would never leave the gun. Unless it was an oil-based paint. The gelatin would become, and with so much plasticizer in it, you would have to soften it because it would just explode. It would blow apart in your gun.
Exactly.
It's funny, right? Like Alex and I sit back we talk about doing like some videos, some informational videos.
You got it.
Like,
oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, but like, I don't know if people are smart enough to really comprehend it sometimes.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Mike,
I'm watching a guy at the turn. I'm watching a guy at WCPL. Our paint, you know, some people say our paint is 670 or some insanely small. It's not. But the guy's using a bore insert that was like 6'7" something, and the paint's 6'8" something, and he's blowing up paint. And he had to go over to the Matrix guy and get a barrel. And you're like, yeah, because you don't even know how to bore paint. Get the ball, put it in the barrel. If it doesn't launch out, if there's too much pushback when you pop on it, you got to step the bore size up, because if not, you're compressing the ball down and firing it out. It's gonna break the ball, right? Like,
this is, dude, that's so key for everybody listening out there. Size your paint, man. Like, don't be the one out there with breaking paint, asking questions, and you don't even size.
Here's a better one. Next time you're out in Phoenix, Tyler, you want to get a good laugh, and you're at Battle Zone or wherever, Wild West, wherever you're playing at.
Yeah.
Go look at all the freak kits that there are, because the freak kits are the easiest way to tell, right? Because the colored inserts.
Yeah.
Look at the rainbow of colored inserts for the guys that are all shooting the same paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, dude. Yeah. You're like,
red,
oh man,
silver, black, green. Really?
someone's failing dropping the ball there for sure.
No clue what they're doing.
They bore their paint by matching their headband rather than actually sizing
Yeah.
the ball.
They're just looking at the color. They're like, oh, what do I want to? Which color do I want today?
Like this one.
It looks good
Yeah.
with my splashed gun. Sweet, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
all
but
that-
it's so crucial. It's
Yeah.
crucial, man. You got to size that paint up, man. Get that accurate
Absolutely.
shot.
Listen, if whatever your paint isn't accurate, make sure it's bored correctly to start with.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
step
this
one
paint
right there.
My paint ain't gonna shoot good either. Trust me. Like,
Yeah.
when you're undersized 10,000ths of an inch, like,
Everything's breaking.
guys, like, I broke 50 balls, and I'm like, I don't think anybody in the rest of the tournament's broken 50 balls. Like, this paint is hard. Like, it's
Something's
durable.
wrong here. Yeah. Something's definitely wrong with that.
It was like made perfect for those conditions. I remember I was like, we're not going to be able to shoot paint this morning. Again, 6:30 in the morning. It was literally 28 degrees. That is no joke. We had no issues. Issues. I was super surprised. Like, yeah, all right.
Mouse had reached out to me and was like, hey, can I get the paint the night before? And everybody was asking, can we get the paint the night before? And I'm like, you can, but trust me, we made paint for December. It's thick. With two C's. Thick.
It's thick.
It's thick.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome that you make, like, you already know, coming into each one of your events, how you're going to make your own, like, paint for the event and everything. So they're super taken care of with that as well.
Well, you're
That's
not going to make the
awesome.
same
Man,
ball in the
yeah.
summer that you're going to make for
Yeah.
December. No company is. Like, no
Yeah.
company. You have to make thinner shell, more brittle ball in the summer, because when it's 110 degrees out, and this is another one people don't realize, there's no LTL shippers, meaning a pallet or two at a time, that are going to reefer your paint to 60 degrees as they ship it out to Arizona. That doesn't exist. Now, if you're GI and you own a whole truck, which is an advantage they have that they've paid for, they can climate control their paint to fields. God bless. But if you're shipping pallets at a time, people are like, man, the paint's soft. It was 130 in Arizona yesterday. Like, gelatin starts to break down in the hundreds. You know what I mean? It was 130. Of course, it turns
It's
into
going to be
gummy
a little
bears.
soft. Yeah.
Damn,
Totally.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough hurdle to get over right there if you're trying to get stuff across the country.
Well, but everybody does it, right? Like, I've seen LTL shipping is the worst shipping in the world. Like, making paint is a struggle. Shipping paint is a bigger struggle.
Dude, I can only imagine.
Makes sense.
Get Greg Pauly on the show. Not that Pauly and I ever talk, but to get Pauly on the show and ask him how LTL shipping works. I've seen some of his posts where he's calling out all the LTL shippers. It's a 2-day shipping. Shows up 14 days later.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
We sent
He'll
ship
get
paint for HK one time to an event. 4 skids got lost. 2.5 months later, I hear a truck pull up in the morning, and I'm like, early delivery. Walk out there, and the guy opens the back, and there's 4 skids of HK paint on the back of it. And I was like, well, found those 4 skids, boys.
Let's get it to work.
Mike, I want to address something that you said about sponsorship. You think that sponsorship for a lot of the teams is going to be kind of going away. You want to elaborate on that a little bit? What exactly do you mean? You're talking about pro teams, divisional teams, all
of them. Why do we need to sponsor you? You guys are dynasty. Listen, I'm not saying this because it's you two and you play for the Dragon. Many companies will tell you, if I put a dynasty logo, not that I make apparel, but if I put a dynasty logo on a jacket and sell it, I will sell a good amount of them. I believe Infamous is doing a very good job on branding their product. Travis is a really smart guy, a friend of mine. He's doing a great job. Short of that, I mean, listen, X Factor, there's fan favorites. If X Factor is doing good with the JT brand, it's a comfortable goggle to wear. Houston Heat's doing great with their HK. Like, they're doing great. You see Yaya out there pushing it. Like, their guys are doing a great job. But you take these top 5 or 6 teams away.
You're right. Yeah.
Why would I sponsor you?
Yeah. Well, that could be devastating, man. Yeah, if that starts to fall apart.
Well, it's going to be devastating because there's an arrogance amongst paintball that we need you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. So how about this? I don't sell paint in the NXL, and I still don't have paint to sell you this week because all the fields are buying my paint.
Yeah.
So, like, for the teams, and listen, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. There is an opportunity for everybody out there, but you got to get right in your head on how you think GI needs you.
Yeah, you got to provide value. First of all, I mean, I need to see some value coming through. I can't sustain this out, just sending out without something coming in, of course. Yeah.
I mean, I know, again, people think it's south of $10 to make a case of paint. I promise you are wrong. So now if you're talking north of it, Well, and making it 15, 20, it doesn't matter. It was shipping, all that, call it 20. How many cases of paint do you need, Tyler, for your team? 500 for the NFL, 700 to 800 for practice, 900 for practice, some crazy number. So 1,400 cases at $20 a case with shipping. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
So what? You think it's worth it $28,000 to sponsor your paintball team?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to get right on that. The check's in the mail, bro. Check's in the mail. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
And that's why we've been like, we're like, yo, come on, we need to rally together as paintball players in the community to provide value for whatever company you're working with. Like, make videos, make an Instagram for putting out fun content, do anything so that we can make this industry super valuable and have fun with it along the way. It also is a good time too. You get to do what you love, and you can have, a valuable piece of content that you could put out and still be having a great time with your craft. So we just need
but the
people to get
problem is
involved.
people have, like, these teams think that we really need them. Like, we want you. We want teams to be engaged in what's happening. We want them to be positive and promote like Marcelo's out there this weekend. He's wearing HK. He's using his gun. People ask to shoot his gun. Can I shoot your force? Cool. He shoots it. And hopefully those people at some point will be like, man, that's a real ass dude. He's down at the field level. Damage guys, they're out in Florida. They're playing at the field on the weekends. You shoot Jason Edwards or Jacob or whichever guy you're shooting their gun. Hey, that's a great virtue hot or whatever it is. But to think that, like, we as upper echelon guys can't relate. Like, this weekend, there was a 30-year-old lady with her boyfriend out at the field playing paintball with us. She's a brand new player. And
that's awesome.
Wants to get into this. We have to, like, humble ourselves. We have to. If we think we're elitist, just not the case, brother. Like, on the field, when we walk into those nets, that's different, right? Like, the gloves are off. We're going for it. But once we step, like, we have to humble ourselves. We have to rethink why we're doing this, because it just doesn't. And again, I talk about GI and these other HK and these other companies. I'm never trying to throw shade. I'm just saying, like, GI sponsors, literally, I sponsored 3 teams. HK sponsored Dynasty, Heat, and I don't know if the Wild Dogs. I know they helped them, and there maybe NYX, a couple others. But you're still talking. I can't even get to 10. I sponsored 3. ProShar has a couple, but, like, so what? GI's got the other 10 teams.
Yeah.
And I know Billy, right? Not that any of us ever talk. There's no collusion. But like, why would you sponsor 10 teams if there's not some business to it? Listen, Corey Fields works hard for his sponsors.
He does.
Funny story, LVL event, right? 2 APX teams go up there. I'm just going to talk about Thunder. I sent 2 skids of paint. Exact same skids of paint. One team didn't like the paint because they left it and let it get cold and were breaking it. And I'm hearing talk back through the water cooler, as I call it, that my paint was too brittle. It was 30-some degrees at night. Of course it was too brittle. Thunder took care of their paint, gave their paint they had leftover paint, gave it to some local fields and stores, promoted my product. One of those stores called me, a random phone number comes in, and hello, and it's a store wanting pricing because Thunder promoted my product in a very good light.
Wow, that's it.
Corey more paint. But the other team that wanted to badmouth my paint doesn't want to tag me literally the whole weekend, doesn't want to tag me. And again, when I say $20 a case, if we're talking a top level ball, it's more than that. Like, with shipping, with everything else, it's more than that. So what, I sent you 120? What is that? $25,000, $3,000?
Yeah.
Go buy my kid a new.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, Mike, because we talk about it so much on the show about exactly what you're saying, but we refer it to just a paintball player. What can you do if you want to get sponsored? Because that's a question that kids always message. How can I get sponsored? First of all, probably the wrong question. How can you get better at the game first? First, master the craft. Once you've gotten really good, then start worrying about that kind of stuff. And the way you do that is by being valuable, not just by playing. Unless you are, honestly, there is, on one hand, you could probably count the amount of players in the league that could get paid or have this kind of sponsorship purely off their game. Other than that, companies are looking for players that promote their brand and add value in that way, because that is just where paintball's at. And you're saying Dynasty, that's like the upper echelon of sponsorship, a team like Dynasty, and you're saying that we're one of the only teams that brings that kind of value. There's a handful of other, but that list is so small. It just goes to show how important it is for you to understand that value. Like let's be honest, Thunder, I love what Corey does. I love what he does with his field. He's always out there promoting paintball. He's always doing that kind of stuff, but they haven't been the most successful pro team as far as competition goes. But they provided tremendous value to the game, to their sponsors, to their organization, because they are out there doing that kind of stuff. Like, that's a good wake-up call and a good message. Like, that's what players need to be doing. You know, that's what they need to be out there doing, is worrying, how can I help you so that you want to help me? Not, hey, what can you do for me? I might go win a tournament or not.
Listen, a couple years ago, right? Doesn't really matter when, I was making paint for one of the NXL companies. Heat won World Cup. Mutiny won semi-pro. I won the overall in San Diego Aftermath. I believe Heat also might have won the series that year. That means my paint won top divisions.
Yeah.
On Monday, nobody called to get that paint. Not from us, through HA. It wasn't like, hey, do we have any of the World Cup paint left?
Yeah.
I think so many of these teams put a premium on what they do, and like the industry needs them. I mean, how much paint does GI give to their teams? How much do I give to my teams? I'd be better to, we were talking about this before the show, to literally drive around to fields and just hang, oh, you got APX paint? Here's an APX shirt. Oh, you've been supporting me for 5 years? And there's guys that do that, man. I'm sending them $100 jackets. Like, here you go, man. Like, thank you. What I'm going to give this to a bunch of ungrateful pro players. If you get lucky enough to get to the top and you get to play paintball for free and shoot free cases of paint, you're the 1%er. To think that you're more than that.
Yeah. And I think that you're right. There is there's a misconception about all this. Like you said, you know, you're pretty direct with it, that they need you, you know, and you gotta be able to provide that value. Like Corey, what a guy, you know, like going above and beyond to market in any way that he can, to speak highly and boost. We always talk about boosting, man, instead of dragging people through the mud, you know, maybe take some responsibility or try to see things through a different perspective. Otherwise, it could get to the point where you think it was, you know, people aren't sponsored now. Just, you know, just watch.
You know? But why, like, talking with guys at Shocker and Lux, you know, they come to all my events and support WC. And you talk to them and it's just like, why? Like, what do I, and people have these illusions that pro teams get hundreds of guns. That does not happen anymore. But let's just say they get 40 guns or 30 guns or 20 guns, then that still might be a high end number. And what's that? Like, Lux is sold out. Eclipse cannot stock their guns. Their product is so good, they can't. So what, I'm going to give all these teams, like the Eclipse guns, they're great guns. I'm going to give all these teams, let's just say 20 for a number. How many Eclipse teams are there? 10? 200, and some of them are getting more. That's a lot of money. And again, would they sell as many guns without Archie and these guys? It's hard to say, but I'm sure they could get creative and sell them.
Yeah.
And that's just the honest, listen, every team is a billboard. You are all a billboard. Some of you guys are on the big freeway. Some of you guys are on the local road, but you're all a billboard for us. But you got to have a good message out there. You've got to work to help your sponsors. And if you don't do that, like, I would rather sponsor a Division III team that is very positive, helping the game grow out there at local fields. I would rather sponsor them than some pro team that thinks they've made it and like, bring me the money, boys. Like, no, that's not going to happen.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. We always talk about it, you know, especially to players that just turned pro. You're just getting started. Just because you just turned pro,
at the beginning,
you didn't make it at all. Now shit's about to get tough. Like, now you're just starting your entire thing, you know? So that mindset of I'm pro, I deserve something. It's just, that ain't it in paintball. You know,
you're going to be roughing your local fields tournaments. You're going to help your field out, because if you have a field attached to you and they're buying 1,000 or 5,000 cases, there might be some kickback off of that. But if there's not, there's no value in it.
It's about respect too. I mean, like, respect the people who are helping you, man. Like, really go out of your way to go above and beyond. Mike, I just saw this video, this old Aftermath video. Rest in peace to Tristan. He's in the video. Is this nostalgic video? And then You see me, I'm loading their pods in the background and like helping in any way I can, like
he was
trying to
on
get
the
back.
second team, and you were on the first team, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I was on the pro team, and we're all in there hyping up and just like giving back, trying to build the community up and do anything we can to help you, Mike, help our sponsors, and just make sure that we're
And that
there.
goes a long ways, right? And that's like
Yeah.
the Aftermath team that we had before. They were all supposed to rep at the WC. By the end of it, nobody's there. I got stuff to do. I got cool, man. No hard feelings, but you want me to drop $100,000?
Yeah.
You can't come help me, or you can't come like Dave Baines has a pro team. You're going to have to rep at his events. He's paying a ton of money. And listen, this discussion of how important the pros are, and I know this is a tough one to say, but WC sold out every event this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So whether pros played or not, we still had business going, and we sold paint to every team. Nobody got one free case at any of my events. It's all sold for the same price across the board. So the show will go on. Trust that. It's just at what level that there's a value. And I don't think a lot of these players really understand that there's no value in just being a pro player. You've got to offer something. But that's same for the divisional camps, like
totally.
Phoenix Rising out there. They're like a through and through HK team. That's great. Like we need, and there's APX teams. I'm not even going to name them.
Yeah.
Like I'll give credit to all the other companies. X Factor is a GI JT team. That's great, man. Stick with those guys. Really, like I don't even want to talk to you. Don't ask me. I won't talk. I'm not going to come at you and try to like pry you away. Like, man, stick with it. Be loyal, But I think a lot of teams really don't get that. And I think this industry, I mean, look at loyalty, World Cup. How'd it work for you guys? Pretty good, huh? Yeah,
it worked pretty good.
Oh, look at your guys' roster. Who did you add? One guy,
just
Dalton.
Yeah.
And you didn't really take him. He had stopped, came back. He'd already played with you guys. He's SDA OG alum, so he knew you guys. That was an easy fit. But let's look at X Factor. What new players were on X Factor? Oh, nobody.
They actually
weird.
Yeah, they actually didn't have their star. Archie.
They didn't have their star, but the whole team as a core. The other team that were adding players last second. Like it's not about having a superstar team. It's about getting guys to mesh. Like we said last episode, get a team together. It's not a 1-year commitment. It's a 2-year commitment. Stick together for 2 years and see how good you are.
That's right.
You'll be a lot better at the end of year 2 than you were at the beginning of year 1.
Yep. You're going to have to fight. That's why. And you're going to have to come together and be brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to come together as a people and be on the same page, or dismantle and be no more. But you're going to figure it out quick. You're going to figure out what people are made of, because they're going to show all their true colors. You know what I mean?
You learn a lot about somebody over 2 years.
You know what I have learned, though, is that's not always true. Like, you need somebody in there that can recognize and assess the problems. Otherwise, you could keep a group together for 2 years and they're just still hitting their head against the wall. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, you
would hope that after a couple, they would start to put
you would
the pieces
hope.
together.
I'm just saying, sometimes that's not the case. Like
this comes from Marcelo has to go to the divisional level and he's coaching. I was really stoked at WC, right? I'm sitting there and like A-Rod, Spica, Mouse, Marcelo, Skemp. Who else am I leaving out? There was
Ryan was out there. He just couldn't make make it for the actual event, but he was there for the field walk.
Birthday. Right. Yeah. But like all these pros are out there and they're looking at me like, man, how do you coach these guys? You know what I mean? Like, I actually saw Spica almost get upset at one point. And I was like, man, I don't think that dude ever gets upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool to see. But I think as we talk about where this industry's heading, that's what you need. The pros need to be back at their local fields, helping local teams out.
Yeah.
And of course, they get paid some money to do it. Don't get me wrong. But they're out there, they're not putting themselves up on such a pedestal that they can't humble themselves to be there at 5:30 in the morning and, go through the grind.
Well, first thing I said, Mike, was when I saw Mouse, he was one of the first person I talked to, but I was like, dude, this is great, man. This feels like old school, This is the old times. We're here at 5:30 in the morning. It's freezing. This is super shitty. When is the last time we've had a game at, this time, like never. So like, this is great. It just reminds you of the divisional days. It's how we grew up cutting our teeth,
You can't lose sight of it, right?
Yeah, you can't. I love how much talent's in your league, Mike. And again, so I coached a Division III team. Major shout out to those dudes. I'm stoked. I think I'm going to continue working with them. But it is like, I know what you're referring to. It's a little difficult sometimes when you're trying to explain these concepts and you think that it's after a couple points, like, hey, how have you not picked up on this yet? It's just, it's a different ball game. Right. And so it just kind of I've been coaching for a while now, so this isn't the first time I encounter it. Anytime, if you're not talking to other high level pros, if I'm even talking to other pros that are some buddies of mine that maybe just got in the league, I'm like, how do you not see this or understand this? It makes me think back to when we were kids, or even when we were a little bit older and you were coaching us, and I'm like, I understand where some of this frustration comes from. I get it. I get it. I think I might have even thrown my clipboard at your event,
It happens.
I think it might have happened.
Over anybody's head. You'll be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's, I do love seeing all of, at least at your event. It happened a lot this year, actually. I will say, like, I went out to New York. Keith DeVitt, Billy Bernaccio were out at the local event that I was coaching at as well. It seems like, I know, Tyler, you've been at a bunch of events and at the field all the time.
Yeah.
You've been at your field almost every weekend, whether there's an event or not, working with the local scene. It seems like more of the pros, because of COVID, a lot of stuff shut down, they're kind of getting a little more involved. And I hope that translates to when things get back to normal, that the players continue to do that, because it's so good for the sport. So good.
Yeah. It's what's needed.
Yeah.
It's really, it was very cool for me to see it, right? And event 2, I got a picture of A-Rod and Spica sitting next to each other, right? Talking about their teams or whatever as they're going to coach against each other. And it's like, man, that's cool. And hopefully everybody picks up on it and keeps the positive momentum going forward, right?
Totally. Because I know when I was a kid coming up, there was always top level pros that you could, if you're not probably going to play against them, or if you do step out there, you're just going to get run over. But you could watch how they run over other pro teams that they're playing, or how they maneuver through the problems. Because we're all humans. We all, it's not just butter. Just because we're dynasty or because you're Heat or X Factor, you think that it's a cakewalk when you walk on the field. Everybody goes through problems, but you can see how they navigate those problems.
Observe and absorb.
That's it, dude. Observe and absorb.
Mike, when are you going to know what the situation is with Aftermath? Whether it's going to be a pro team, semi-pro team? Yeah, I'm going to press you on this for the last little section of the show.
Still ain't got a call back from John yet, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Hello, Thomas Fantoni. Have you seen John?
Yeah, hit him up.
I don't know, man. I'm waiting for a call back from my friends.
I'm curious, because obviously that changes how you're looking at some of the players over the next couple weekends, right? Because again,
I mean, either way, gritty dudes are going to be in the camp, right? Like people that don't show up, don't show out, aren't going to be in the camp. I'm just going to keep building. I mean, I think the only thing that's really to be talked about with the Aftermath thing is there's a guy, me, Southern California, making a team that's going to be able to help young players move up. Maybe it's a pro team, maybe it's a Division 4 team. I don't know. Right. Like, but the cool story is that there's something, because really short of DMG up in the north, there's nobody like semi-pro or down that's doing anything in California. Like like
so crazy.
Vic and Cali Elite. I mean, they were around. I think they played Cup, but they're not real. They're not at the fields playing anymore. There's no ladder anymore to get up the ranks. There's really, the Hunters played, Gray Area played a couple. I mean, there was only 2 events this year, right? But there's not really anybody. Riverside Quake played 2 of them, but there's not anybody out here playing the NXL circuit. So for me, a lot of my guys will be reffing in my league, and that money will go towards travel and events and tons of paint so they can play a lot of paintball, right? And I would rather do that so we're keeping the money in the industry and not just paying it outwards and
absolutely
being recycled back in, right? But
so it's the holidays. What are you guys doing over there? What do the holidays look like at the Hinchmeister's house? What do you got going on?
Oh man, my wife deals with all the presents. I mean, there's definitely some PCs coming for some of the kids. My kids lived a blessed life, like I can't. It's tough for my sons, right? Because my youngest son has got a dude from Paintball Stints built. Like he's got a computer. My older son's got one. What do you get kids that have everything? Right. My youngest son is like deep into the Nerf thing. So he wants some crazy 180 per second Nerf guns.
Holy shit.
I found where all my goggles are. Like Every time
That's
I
funny.
wanted to-
Nerf, they have like real Nerf competitions that make
yeah.
good, like better than paintball.
Yeah, they really do. So that's what they want. My oldest son and my wife's oldest son are getting into the driving age. So
Yeah.
there's no cars coming for Christmas, but we know that's coming, right? Like,
Yeah.
kids are
There
pretty
we
well
go,
taken
baby.
care of over here. But honestly, in 2020, right? I think just
Yeah.
having your family happy and healthy and knock on wood to make it through it, right? Like, I think that's what
Amen.
it is here. Like, if I'm not at the field or not at APX, I'll be here at the house. Hanging with Bam Bam.
What kind of games? What kind of games are they playing?
My youngest son plays, the little kid stuff, the Fortnite, Roadblocks, stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy, man. I wish I could take this thing in there. He's got his iPhone set up. He's got 3 screens up. My oldest son has this TV screen hanging half off the wall. Got everything linked up. I'm like, man, good knowing you guys.
That's like, even my 5-year-old, he's into this game called Splatoon, and it's like paintball. It's crazy. It's this game where you run around and shoot paint, and you have to dominate the area. So he's been playing this crazy Splatoon game this whole time.
Yeah,
he loves it.
I kind of got lucky. My older son got in a little bit of trouble with some of his schoolwork, and I took his electronics away for a while.
There we go.
And it was kind of good though, right? Because with the court in California, we're still not back to school, so my kids are here every day. But making them go outside and be normal human beings again, and hey, come back home when the sun goes down, and then we'll talk about it. Dude, we'll be a normal kid.
Yeah, I was never inside when I was younger. I was always rummaging about somewhere, running around the neighborhood.
The sun's up, you leave, and when the sun comes down, you come home. And also, we lived in a world as parents where we didn't have to worry about it. Now I'm
true.
If I haven't heard anybody outside, I'm looking down the street, I don't see my son the other day, and I'm in the Tesla driving around the block, looking for him.
Yeah,
well, there he is.
Real.
Cool. But now, how about your house, Ty? What are you guys doing out there?
I got a Christmas tree last week. Threw up some couple Christmas lights. The kids have been making a lot of hot chocolate and playing Splatoon, so it's been good.
Hell yeah.
Playing it. It's winter time, right? It's always a fun time of the year, right?
It is,
Christmas,
man.
And then we get a new start of a year, and then for all of us in the back of our mind, we're like, 21's coming, boys.
I know, dude.
Paintball tournaments.
Yeah, I know, man. Hopefully, we'll hear some news on what's going on because like you said, we're not entirely sure exactly where the event is going to be at. So we'll hear where that's at soon, hopefully.
Yeah. The word is 4 big events is what I heard. I don't know how.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
2 in Florida, I've heard. And again, that was not from Cole. That's water cooler talk. But we'll see, right? I know Tom definitely brought up they want to do some minor style events, more open events, where they're going to call it, where teams can come out there and play and get points to go up to the big league and maybe test their competition against other.
Play the Super Cup. It's all about the Super Cup. Did you hear about that whole thing, Mike? Yeah, totally. We talked about it on the last show. We talked about it with Crandall. We talked about it on one before that. But what do you think of that? Because you essentially wouldn't get any payout for any, and I think you pride your league on the fact that you've always had really good payouts for your players.
Yeah, I mean, I think once the information comes out and it's made public, as we normally do, myself and Jerry will put that to our players and get the feedback from them. I mean, it's wealth distribution, right? How are we giving away all the money? Chris Rails said some interesting numbers, right? And very few people probably really get to talk to Chris much, but 90% of people won't win paintball tournaments, right? So that's where you run into an issue is when you start giving it away to one team, and who, again, a devil's advocate, your top teams in your division usually aren't there by luck. There's some factor of money. They can afford a good coach. They can afford to play more paintball. And we're going to give all the money to the guy that already has everything. Again, do I think it's a very cool concept? 100% I do. Do I think Tom is listen, Tom is always going to get beat up for what he does because he's pushing the boundaries. Yeah. And the rest of us ride his coattails through, right? We find the safe place. Tom is pushing it. He's trying to get this on TV. There's a big talk we had was content. A lot of these streaming services need content. Can we get paintball as part of that content? Hulu, whatever it is, Apple TV, doesn't matter which content, which, platform we're talking about. I think Tom's doing a great job, man. I would not want to listen. If I had to walk a mile in his shoes, I'd take them off.
They're heavy.
I couldn't do it, right? because when you're the guy at the front, everybody's naysaying what you should have done better.
Yeah, you're getting.
Tom and I are friends,
work.
you know, like we've had an interesting friendship over the years, but I am one of the biggest Tom supporters. I believe Tom calls sometimes to sound things off of me. I love talking to the dude. You know, like even like the Super Cup, obviously I've talked about it with him. I'm very cautious to say anything because I don't want to mess it up for Tom and what he's going to do, but he's got some really cool ideas. The problem you have is, and this is probably a Chris Rail question, is how many teams compete the whole season? You know, because if you don't play the whole season, then you have no shot to get to the Super Cup at the end.
Yeah.
How many different teams win a WC? If there's 4 events and 4 divisions, that's 16 winners. How many of those teams are actually going to make it to the Super Cup? And then you're also saying second, third, and fourth or whatever get nothing.
No. So everyone gets paid at the Super Cup all the way through 10th.
Totally.
Yeah, correct.
But I'm saying at WCBL, we have 70 or 80 teams throughout the season. We probably had 120 different teams. But you're saying at the end of it, and ultimately our top division Premier might be Division 2, but it's ultimately our Premier division is Division 2 and semi-pro combined into one. So they're probably not going to be there for it. So now you're talking 3 more teams out of 120 will get a bunch of money. Nobody else gets anything. How do you, like Marcelo, what team did you coach?
The Lords.
Lords did.
The Lords.
How do you sell it to the Lords to keep playing in my league when they have no shot at getting to the Super Cup?
So, yeah, it's a catch-22 in my understanding with it, because it's kind of like surfing, right? Amateur pro surfers can fly all over the world. They're like, you know what? I need 100 points still if I want to make it to the US Open. So they can say, hey, there's a tournament in Bali. You know, there's not that many big names that are going there. I think I have a chance of getting some pretty good points. I could fly out there, you know, yada, yada. And granted, that's why it's a catch-22. You're spending money to make money at this point. But with the opens, the events that aren't, you know, the majors, you know, say you make 200 points if you win one of the majors, you get 100 points if you win one of the opens. You know, a lot of the teams, the top teams, they might not go to all of them because there could be, you know, say 8-9 events in total, but spread between majors and the minors. So a divisional team could say, hey guys, we're super close to qualifying for the Super Cup. We just need to go to this one extra event, you know, and they have that choice to do that. Now, again, it's that catch-22 because you're spending money to make money, but I feel like it's kind of cool. It's exciting that, you know, if you want to play more paintball and you're in that position, you can go, but it does suck for the teams that maybe their intention isn't to ever play all 5 events in a series or play the whole series and get a series win. You know, it's just to play one big event and maybe go for one prize package. And they're okay with like gambling. And if they don't win it, they're okay with losing what they spent on it because they have their fun. And if they do win, it's a benefit for them. But, you know, I think it makes it more exciting. Like at the very end, there's a bigger prize package. And we all know that professional paintball, you know, when we're sharing our pictures of winning World Cup and the check says $12,000, that's embarrassing. It's like nobody cares about playing for a $12,000 check at the professional level, the World Cup, the biggest event there is, you know? Whereas if you're playing for 50 grand, like, okay, you might catch some attention from people that don't play paintball. You know what I mean?
You might, I mean, again, I'm really not trying to be any way, shape or form negative about it. We'll see when the information comes out.
Sure.
Be on go follow the WCPL page because we put these questions back to our team. And you know what? To be honest with you guys, I hear a lot of times I have an idea. Like, you know, I think the teams are going to react this way. And then we put something to them and it is a landslide the opposite direction. And it puts me in check because I'm like, man, this is what my players want. And there's sometimes it's down the middle. They want to lay out, they don't want to lay out, blind layouts, stuff like that.
Oh boy. Hold on.
Yeah, this is a fun one because
I gotta hear your take on this. This whole layout, no layout.
Well, Mike
thing.
doesn't do a layout, so I do want to know why.
Yeah, I gotta hear
because it's simple, right? Like some teams can afford. So my theory to it was we released the layout 2 weeks ahead of time, and the problem we have with releasing the layout 2 weeks ahead of time is, Tyler, you got kids, I got kids. What's one of our kids' birthdays? What you gonna do, bud? Where was Ryan?
Tyler's going to be at practice. He just went through this.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's a sacrifice to that. and I've sacrificed
Totally.
greatly for my
Yeah.
career in the sport and all that.
Yeah.
But if somebody, and a lot of people cannot afford to play every weekend, double days, 40 cases of paint, they just can't afford it. So you
Yeah.
get, my theory on it was, you get, how do we make this closer to a Wednesday night beer league?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how do we, my son's sneaking in to give
I'm
me
so
something.
glad you said it that way. So that's what Eric Crandall wants. He wants the pro division to be a Wednesday night beer league.
Yeah. We got the little Hinmans on the YouTube, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
nice.
was Bryce coming through.
Hey,
There he
Bryce ain't
He's
so
gonna
little
be-
anymore, dude.
I say he ain't so little anymore.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
got a little
man.
mustache and everything. I literally have a picture of him on a Pez shirt next to me as a baby,
Oh,
right here on
dude.
my desk, and he's out walking in here like,
awesome.
"Hey, what's up,
With
Dad?
the- yeah.
What's up, bro?
What's
Good
up,
to see you,
bro?
man.
That's awesome, dude. I
You
love
gonna give me that 64 Impala for my first car? Yeah, got you, kid.
He was just so tiny. You just showed a picture on the YouTube. That's awesome, dude. That's what it's all about right there, Mike.
Mhm.
But I do think the blind layout helps a lot of teams. Again,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then you're going to say teams won't come practice. They're not going to be at the fields. Totally, I hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, Marcelo, how many people you see this weekend? Tyler, how many people are going to be at Battle Zone? Tyler,
Yep.
how many people are going to be at your one-on-one tournament that you're hosting out there? Right?
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
going to play paintball. We just have to make it.
Got to give
Like
him a
WC,
reason.
we do a practice layout. It's nothing like the real layout we're going to use. Thomas Taylor is one of the best field layout guys there is.
Mhm.
Thomas Taylor builds us crazy layouts, and we put them up, and everybody's out playing them. If you
Yeah.
continually put new layouts out every 2 or 3 weeks, people are going to play paintball.
Yeah. I like that, dude.
Like,
and
I really think if you build it, they will come. And it just
Yeah.
it becomes so. Where I saw issues was if a team didn't play one weekend, and they did play the other weekend, but LA Collision played both weekends, or the Gummy Bears, or all these top teams, the Lords played both weekends. You kind of feel like you're at a disadvantage going into the event because, and that's a argument that's had in your pro division, right? Houston Heat, the Russians, like those guys can afford with their ownership groups to play
Yeah.
more paintball. So is it unfair to them? Yeah. I mean, you could make an argument one way or the other, whatever. We've done it. It's worked well for us. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen teams win events and get crushed the other events because the layout, a pocketed layout that was very slow. Certain teams did good. And then this last one was just a run and gun layout.
yeah.
And other teams didn't do good. Marcelo throws his clipboard, right? Like it was more difficult, but there's two sides of the story, and I don't think any one side's wrong.
And the only, like, the flip side of the coin is, like, you know, we've talked about as well, like, you know, all those little details, you don't know all those little details when you show up to a blind layout. So it's going to be a little bit crazier paintball probably. It'll start to level out on Saturday, Sunday when it all gets figured out. But those first couple of days is going to be like kind of mayhem, you know?
But it was the same thing we dealt with in 7-man.
Yeah.
You got a
you
game
show
on the
up,
Zap
totally.
field, on the Spider field, on the JT field. You
Mm.
had
Dude, that was the best.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and ultimately you pocketed up, right? You kept guys alive. You tried to shoot somebody, and you made bumps that made sense. It's
Yeah.
not
Oh,
impossible,
that's
right?
so
Like,
funny that you put it. So Mike, I know you. I don't think you listen to the show, but we just had an episode with Eric Crandall, and Crandall and I have been going back and forth on this layout thing for a while, and so we got in a pretty heated discussion on it. But his whole thing was about blind layouts would make the game so much more exciting. But you actually just made such a good point. I actually don't think if in the pro division you're showing up, it's one of the 5 events, you're fighting for a series championship. You're going to walk the field. You're probably going to do exactly that. What we did in 7-man, you're going to play a little more conservative until you figure out the layout. You're not just going to go run blind into each other.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But what I think you will see is Archie and Mouse and yourself and Tyler and Ryan and guys on every pro team are like the true greats of this game. I think in a blind layout, you'll see those better players making bigger moves early because we both know, and we played alongside the greatest guys. When Archie sees it,
Yeah. Yep. See ya.
adios.
Yep.
I think he sees a yellow brick road develop down the field, and and same for all you guys. Greatness will still be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I truly believe that. If a team wants to pocket up with 5 up, 5 guns alive, and sit there, trust me,
Good. You're gonna wear it.
somebody's gonna get it. You know what I mean? Like these good players are going to be able to read it. So I think you'll see more talent at the beginning. You're right. By Sunday, we've had enough other games that, like, when I'm not playing, I'm over there watching X's and O's.
Sure.
Jerry's scouting every team in our division. We are very well prepared for it. But I think it makes it easier. I also think there's the way it is and the way it should be, and how to get from where it is to where it should be is going to piss a lot of people off.
That's no lie.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of people are not going to be happy about the route we take to get there.
What I do really like that you said, though, Mike, that I actually didn't even think of, and it kind of is a great rebuttal to my biggest argument, which is, to not have a field a layout release is for the field owners, right? Like, I want people to be at the fields. Those layout weekends are always really crucial to fields. I've talked to a lot of field owners. They say those are our busy weekends. We love a release, but you're right. That's actually a pretty easy fix. If the league releases some sort of practice layout, teams will be there.
Make it a fun layout. Make it a layout where you're like,
they assume like, oh, it might be close to the layout. Like, it's the practice layout. We got, whatever it is, it's still an official release. Teams will be there solely based off that.
Listen, Marcelo, if we go out this weekend, how about we make a Tyler's coming out. We're all coming out. We're going to be at this paintball field this weekend. Tell me nobody shows up.
That's right.
Big Mike. I don't know. Ty, did you lose him for a second?
No, he's good.
Oh,
got him.
I didn't hear the question. I lost.
No, I just said,
Marcel,
I said, imagine if we put a post up on Facebook right now that says me, you, Tyler, and whoever else, we're all going to the field this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's
They're going to be there. How about this?
There.
We take another layout, a completely unplayed layout that looks fun, and we set it up, and we say this is going to be at Victory Paintball Park, at Battle Zone, at Dave Baines Field, all these fields across California. This is going to be out there this weekend. I guarantee you, dude, WC is over. It's the off season.
Yeah.
I talked to stores in our local area. They're out of paint right now. The store closest to the field we played at this weekend, Marcelo, is out of paint right now. HK paint, APX paint, and GI paint, all out. Because everybody bought it all out this weekend because we had 100 people out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At least, if not more. I mean, with 2 fields pumping.
But Mike, you gotta also understand too that if you didn't make that post, the field is probably going to look the way it did on Saturday. That's
why the field owner won't be making money.
Well, I know
make money, then they should do something.
No, I know, but Mike, you're different than 99.9% of the field owners, right? These field owners don't have the clout and pedigree that you do. You saying, hey, let's get out there, or myself or Tyler or Ryan Greenspan or Mouse, right? Like, people are going to show up and want to play because of that. But if just a field owner says, hey, I got this new layout, you guys want to come play, I don't think it holds the same water.
But I think there's those guys everywhere. Like, it might not be us, but I think in every region there are those guys, and we need those guys to rally up, and everybody needs.
Tyler's going to be at Battle Zone. Unger's going to be out there at Wild West and Battle Zone. Right. Like, these guys are going to be out there, but if we make something fun, they will come want to play it.
Thomas Taylor's
in Oregon.
Absolutely.
In Oregon, like, they don't have the population density that you have in Phoenix or I have in Southern California. There's still people playing paintball up there. Corey Fields, like, I know Doodlebug's down right now because of Washington restrictions. There's people playing up there. But if you make it fun, Danny Court does a great job up there. If you guys watch Doodlebug on Facebook or Insta, like, he's really doing a good job. I don't know Danny that well. We're friends, but, like, we don't talk all the time or anything. Mm-hmm. But he's doing a good job promoting it. If you just say, if it's the same layout 8 weeks in a row, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. People aren't going to want to go. I played it 8 times.
Yeah,
it's like a local golf course.
Yeah.
The flag location.
I got to say, you know what? Actually, Fran actually does a really good job with that. And, he's, one of the assistant coaches of the Ironman now, so he has a little more pedigree than before. Fran's the man, dude. He's constantly changing the field, and he has, like, a nice little vibe at his spot, and he's bringing people in, like, he's planting
100%. Trees, dude. It's looking nice out there.
He's doing it the right
Fran
way.
and Nikki both are doing a great job because they're passionate about the sport. But again, if you build it, I truly believe, listen, Thomas Taylor makes cool layouts, man. Send that dude $25-$50 or something and have him make you some layouts. Yeah. They're fun. They're layouts I look at and I'm like, ooh, buddy. Somebody's getting their wig split this weekend. Like, I literally, when I did the layout this weekend, Marcelo, I looked back through all my Thomas Taylor layouts. Yeah. And I found that one from 2018. I look back to. to get that
Yeah.
one that we played. I'm not saying it was anything crazy, but
was
people
fun, though.
wanted to play
Yeah,
it because
it
it
was
was
fun.
new. And you're right.
Mhm.
I'm sure by me being out there, it helps.
Mhm.
But listen, man, like there's money to be made. There's a way to do this where everybody wins in this scenario. People have
Absolutely.
to, just my opinion, people
Mhm.
have to expand their horizon and their mindset. Like, cool.
Yeah, I agree.
If I own a field, yeah, Tyler, I'll give you 2 cases of paint. Marcelo, you want to come out? I mean, you shot HK paint all weekend, but if you didn't and you needed some paint, your boy
Yeah.
got you. Come on out.
Yeah.
Give these people a good time. That's what's going to
Yeah,
help
dude.
our sport. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know,
Totally.
Tyler, how is it when you go to the fields out in Arizona? Pretty good?
It's amazing. Yeah, Arizona's badass. I've been loving it out here. The paintball
Well,
community is booming.
Flourishing.
It is.
Flourishing. Are the largest camp, I think, in my opinion, the largest legitimate camp in America right now is probably based there. And that's the Rising
right.
Camp.
Has
We
to
had,
be.
8 X-ball teams at my event? And I'm not, listen, the Veteran Militia's got a ton of teams at World Cup, stuff like that, but I'm talking about they have 8 established individual
And-
teams that are always playing.
And I have to say one thing. I have the one-on-one tournament coming up this weekend. If you guys complain about not having opportunities out here, and I don't see you playing some of these tournaments that we're going to be having, that's a problem. I don't want to hear complaining and then there's opportunities and you're not taking a hold of them, especially we have such a great opportunity out here with the paintball community. It's booming.
It is seriously booming.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy booming.
really
And I
is
didn't
booming.
expect that. Like when I moved out here, I was like, oh man, I hope the paintball is good. And I was showing up at all the fields and it was just cracking. I was like, wow, this is great.
Arizona's become a new hotbed for paintball.
Mhm.
But that's because
Yeah.
we have good people out there, right? The
Yeah.
Rising Camp. There's
Yep.
other camps out there that are good. The Elevation Camp is good. Like they're not that they have the depth of teams, the legacy guys, Sean
Yeah.
and his guys. Like there's
Mhm.
great at Wiley and the Psychotics guys. Like there's a ton of teams out there that are, and I'm not even
Yeah.
naming them all, right? Like there's a lot of really good teams coming out there. It's cool. Like Northern California's always kind of been a smaller camp to the south, but like Arizona's blowing up, Utah, the
it
Bro Army, Buddy and all them, the LVPP guys out in Vegas.
Yeah.
The LVPP's got a bunch of teams. Buddy and them have multiple camps coming through. But you got a
Mhm.
lot of good people in paintball that I think can
That's
weather
right.
the test of time,
Yep. We're gonna actually even the paintball combine is coming here January 30th. We're doing the combine
I
out
think
here.
everybody should go check it out, man. I talked to Anthony about it.
Yeah.
Like WCBL's on board. Like we're complete support. He had asked me if his guys could bring out stuff. We never got any flyers out there, but we're going to put it up. People should go
Love
out there
that.
and check it out, man. Like,
Good. Love that.
because
Yeah,
a lot
it
of guys, a lot of people, and I think the combines make sense because a lot of guys don't have the ability to rub shoulders with us all every weekend because they just don't live within 100 miles of a local pro guy, right? So
Yeah.
that's a great opportunity to get a serious density of pros. And,
Yeah.
Marcelo, you just brought up a guy from the Team USA and that probably came through the combine system, right?
Correct.
It's great.
Exactly.
There's
Exactly
nothing
it.
wrong to be said. If you can afford it, go do it.
Right.
If you're a 40-year-old man, 32-year-old woman, 16-year-old kid, go do it.
Yeah. Look, there are a bunch of players that have come through the combines, the summer camps that no joke, it's not just because it's our program. It is a matter of time and they're on our radars and we're all watching. I know Greenspan's watching. I know some of the other, other teams and stuff. It's like when they're ready, we're going to pull them up because
one already got pulled up. Austin Betty with Diesel.
Yeah.
Christian Martinez as well. Like he's been coming out to a ton of them. So it's it's a matter of time for a few of the other ones too. Truly is, and it's like it's such a good way for you to go and just show that you are pursuing this path of professional paintball. And if you really think you have what it takes, come and prove it. Just come out and prove it because it's an opportunity to do it in front of a ton of pros, tons of top coaches.
Listen, if your skill is at that level, you will be picked up and it will come quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's play it out. You go to the Arizona Combine and you are truly elite level talent. Like you have all of the things that you guys are looking for.
Yeah.
Like again, hello, what's up?
Yeah. Mike's picking up the phone. Yeah.
Hey, I like that. Yep. Marcelo knows how the call comes.
Yeah.
He knows how the call comes. Like when that number pops up, you've all got it. That's how it would go. If you're really at that level and you think you've got what it takes, the phone's going to ring.
Picked up. Yeah, absolutely.
There's definitely not if you have talent, there's nobody in Division 3 or 4 that has the talent to be pro that's just getting overlooked right now. Right? Like the truth is, if you develop the skill set as a young player, old player, doesn't matter. People, that's another one, right? People talk about like, I'm going to retire. I'm 35. And you're like, what? Like Alex Martinez doesn't play as much on X Factor because he's got so many guys on the team. Alex Martinez could still play paintball.
He'll still step out there and run it.
Alex Martinez could start on the current Aftermath for sure.
Well, you probably smack the bejesus out of most of them. But
he could start on a lot of the teams. No joke. Yeah, when he steps in and plays.
Team. But the truth is, he has such a love for his team. He lets them do it, right? But like, my point is, I don't think anybody gets too old to play paintball. Like that's crazy.
No, I'm with you. And what are some of the things that like a Division 3, Division 2 player needs to change in their mindset, in their gameplay to take it to that semi-pro level? You know, obviously we talked about the grit, but it's also that extra, right? Just putting in all those little extra details.
I mean, there's nothing that we can tell them. They know when they lay their head down tonight and the lights go out in their room and they close their eyes and they think about what their weakness is in their own paintball game. Everybody knows what they're not good at. You need to lose weight. You need to get in better shape. You need to get left-handed better. I truly believe most players know where their biggest weaknesses sit. I hated shooting with my left hand. It was cool when the guns were fully automatic, right? Right, but like I really think a lot of players know, and they've got to take that look inside themselves, right? Like I'm not good running and shooting. A guy that we've all played with and have a relationship with is A-Rod. I was interested to watch A-Rod when he played for me, right? Because A-Rod wouldn't play a lot of paintball. He's not like you, Tyler, out the weekend of Christmas, before Christmas, I'm doing a tournament, right? That's just not A-Rod. But when the layout came out on Wednesday, you bet your ass Fran had that field set up, and A-Rod had already pumped. We would get to the field, and you could see the amount of like spray and gelatin around the like areas, and you're like, what the fuck? Well, there was a target there. There was a target there. Because A-Rod had every shot wired. And it's probably why we won some sets against Dynasty, because you guys are out there Saturday morning like looking at shots and like diagnosing the field. A-Rod's already got 3 days on it. Like he's digested it, shit it out, and redigested it. He really did. So I think
that's why he's one of the best. Absolutely.
Totally. And for a lot of these young players, we saw it this weekend, Marcelo, the speed in which you guys play, the ability to close gaps. If somebody gives you an inch, you take 10 inches.
Yeah.
That's, again, observe, absorb, right? Like these young players need to do that. They really need to push their game. And I think a lot of players know where their weakness is. It's just, do they really? I talk to guys all the time. I need to lose some weight, man. I need to lose some weight. I need to get faster. I need to get in better shape. Stop talking about it. Start being about it.
Yeah, seriously. Too much talking and not enough action with what you actually got to get done, for sure.
Yeah. Are you on a paintball team? Because if you're on a team, then you should try to get better. If you're just part of a club, then just keep fucking around. That's fun. Like it's fun to go play paintball. The paintball is gonna be fun. We're gonna be playing in the woods for a long time. That is gonna be fun paintball. But if you want to do what you guys are doing, what I coach, you have to push yourself. You have to have days where you get in the car and you question yourself, right? You have to. And if you're not pushing yourself to that limit, you're just not really like, everybody had a hell week. You needed to push yourself to the breaking point. That's like, you don't develop strength and grow in life without adversity. You have to have that. And I'm thinking about it this weekend, right? Like a lot of the guys that we were out there and you were playing against this weekend, Marcelo, I'm already thinking this week on guys that were in the back center. Like, you're not playing in the back center next week. So the front guys that weren't doing it good enough, I might send them to your side of the field in the first 20 seconds. And if they don't, I'm going to drop a hopper on them.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to really make this so uncomfortable that, and I think when you make things so uncomfortable, people start, I do believe they either break or they grow.
Yep. And we don't want, if you're not going to stay there and grow, we don't want you. We need you to have that gear. And also it's the processing as well. Information processes so fast at the highest level of anything, right? And it's those gaps, those windows, they shut really quick. So you got to be on your P's and Q's before those gaps shut, and you got to see what's going on. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on out there.
There's so much knowledge out there. Go Sports, right? Like you can go back and watch, if you have a subscription, the videos. Dude, I've broken down every Aftermath tape that there is.
Good, dude.
Current
yeah.
current aftermath.
Yes, 100%.
I love that.
Badass.
I love that.
Badass,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
No doubt about it.
what's your biggest take that has been hurting them the most?
World Cup, the snake side had no clue what they were doing.
Yeah.
Go watch the tape. One guy out gets shot. No, your center cut guys. Same thing we were talking about this week. And you cut a field into thirds, left, right, center. You have two guys in the center, two on the right, one on the snake side. Let's say your snake's to your left. You lose him. You got two guys in the center. How do you fill out that way? Right. I'm not saying you got to go two out there every time, but you watch it and you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, back center guys dying out of the break. Like, how do you? I don't know how you coach that one, right? Function, stayed up alive. Like I don't know how else you do that, right? Like, but it was bad. I mean, and it's not to put them down. It's to sit there and say, again, we're just talking about me as a coach. How could I have done this better if I was in that position? That's all I'm looking for as Mike Hinman. How would I have coached this better? What could we have done? We lost. Now we have to learn.
Yeah. And you're right. The whole stay alive. Like, I just need for 5 of you to give me the best effort of getting to your bunkers. If you can shoot and you feel like you can shoot consistently and maybe get a kill and make your bunker, that's great. If it's 50-50 of you shooting and making your bunker, I might need you to just dig in there and then just need you alive because you're going to be super valuable at the end, you know?
I don't know how many times on Dynasty I hid for my life.
Yeah, dude. You know, like
just
you got to
stayed alive. And then all of a sudden,
Quincy, that's right.
Or Tyler or Oliver or Ryan or all those names, Danny Tiljack, could go make something happen. You're like, we're back in it, boys.
Yep, that's it.
Sometimes it didn't work, and I just got punished hiding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like that just happened.
But
stay alive, Tyler. Can you please shoot one of them? Please shoot one of them, Tyler.
But then you hear it, G1, G2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got? You know?
That's right. That's it.
I really think a lot of these young players, but then you go watch the culture of what's happening in a lot of these areas in Southern California, Arizona, and you look at some of them and you're like, man, we really need to step the tempo of practice up a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to step
100%.
it up. Again, we have to, on that, rev meter, we got to get it up to the red a little bit. I'm not saying we got to blow the engine out, but we got to push ourselves. You know what I mean? And it's no different than practicing against you guys, right? Here's one set where there's 2 guys in the snake. Every point, here's Arturo. Here's the next guy coming down. And the next set, Blake and Tyler are doing cartwheels down the Dorito side. And you're like, because Rusty's out there pushing it. And then all of a sudden there's a set where you guys are 5 up on the break, shooting, heavy pocket, playing inside out. Joey does these same things, these tendencies. The Russians. Man, how many times have we all heard, especially back in the day, the Russians would go to Chicago to play shock or something like that. And they're like, we kicked the fuck out of them. And you're like, really? Wow.
Yeah.
42-8, huh? That was same Russian Legion we're talking about? Because the Russian Legion literally would have 5 guys go out and one guy's doing a job. And all the coaches cared about, Toronto and all the great coaches they have over there, Max, and they were literally watching a lane. Okay, we shot that guy. We know that. We know that'll work. Oh yeah, we're playing you at the tournament too. We're literally. I got my quarterback playing strong side linebacker because that's how much they're throwing you off here.
That's right.
100%.
Mind games, dude. Mind games.
And because people would say that, like, "Oh, we beat up on them," and I'm like,
okay. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, you're gonna find out because that's all they cared about. But you see a lot of these teams go out in regards to divisional, and they're just going through the motions, right? Like they're just out at the local field. And I'm not putting it down, but if you want to become better, you must sweat, you must bleed, you must break yourself. Like you have to really put it in, right? I'm not saying bleed as in like.
Well, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Trade outs, man. Like kids are going to have like the Ironman saying bloody knuckles.
That's
like
right.
That's what it's going to be. And if you don't do that, how do you really expect to take it to the next level?
It's a gritty sport, man. We play paintball. This isn't cricket, this isn't like bowling. This is paintball. It's going to get a little wild and you got to have those gears. I went up to Wisconsin. I did this clinic up there and I was just running them like back to back to back to back to back to back. And they're like, is this how you guys practice? I'm like, yeah, man, you guys are sitting around too much. You're not going to have any time to breathe. You're going to be getting back on this field and we're going to run more drills and run more games, and that's the gear that you got to get into, man, for sure.
Yeah, we get to an uncomfortable spot and then bring it back down to a safe spot and let's go. But you know, for me as a coach right now, like I said, I'm already thinking of all my names for next weekend and the jobs that they need to do. This guy's going to be doing that. Keys is going to be doing this. Snakeside guys are going to be doing this. Bono is going to be doing that. Like, I already know what a lot of these guys are going to be doing, and I'm going to make them very uncomfortable. And I think people have to do that.
Yeah. You got to be stoked, I mean, to be coaching again. You know what I mean?
Totally. It wasn't like this wasn't a divorce situation. Like, I hate paintball, and I'm like, you see people do that. They got these big announcements that they're retiring from paintball. No, I just stepped back. I never retired. I stepped back. And again, am I happy? There was a conversation that was had with a player, and it was in regards to the pro spot or possibly playing semi-pro. And this player said to me, and I'll name him down the road because he's part of another team, but he's coming this direction. He said, I don't give a shit. We can play pro. We can play semi-pro. Say less. Like, let's just go do it. Like, I could tell in his eyes, he did not care what division we played.
Hell yeah.
He was just like, he said, if you coach us and with what we have out here, we can build something special.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait.
And his number one saying is say less. So whoever that is, right? Like that's, and there was something about that where it was like, yeah, man, like if you just want me to come out and donate my time, like, I've never been paid for this. I'm not putting anybody down that has. For me, I've always been about giving it away, give my jerseys away. I gave all my guns away. I give everything away. You know what I mean? Like, but when he said it to me like that, it was like, okay, that's what I needed, right? Like, I needed that spark for somebody, and it's got to be local. And like last time we're flying, I mean, you guys know, you played on teams where you're flying in 4, 5, 6 guys. I don't think that model makes a lot of sense going forward.
Not long term, no. And I think that you guys can really get a strong belief system going with an in-house group and get everybody on the same page and get them fired the hell up to play some paintball, you know, and really dig deep and build a good organization. Totally. Absolutely.
No, that's for anybody though. Like, if you're out in Chicago, New York, Florida, like, man, let's all raise the bar. Like, let's all compete with each other. And again, afterwards, let's go hit Wingstop.
Yeah.
Everybody some lemon pepper, and we can call it a day, right? Like, that would be fun. Like, let's go buy this out and have fun. And like, again, and we're on the field, it's different. When you guys go to the other side, that's it. Fun, but we understand. I expect it out of you. You're going to try to put me down. I'm going to try to put you down.
Yeah, it's like
friends.
Dude, my dad would tell me these crazy stories. He's from Iowa. You know, just a cornbread boy, you know, in Iowa there, and they would have like these underground fight leagues when he was growing up, and they would beat the crap out of each other, and then after they'd go, you know, they were 21, they go buy each other a beer and be like, oh man, good job, you knocked my nose off there. It's like, you know,
but I think that's like what it needs to be. We need to continue to step the level of competition up, but at the same time, you know, be humble. Like, we can't be negative to each other, you know, like, again, if you're a Dynasty fan and you're playing Aftermath and you want to say, I mean, there's so many team moms, Colts mom, right? Like the Heat moms, like, you don't ever hear those intelligent people that are women, because they're a lot smarter than we are, saying like, fuck Aftermath. Like, you don't see negativity come from them. They're just cheering their team on. That's what we should all be doing, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I agree,
hopefully
man.
we get to that place, man. And hopefully we can have rivalries, and hopefully, like, Mutiny had a rivalry. But the truth is, every time those guys beat me, I'm on the phone at the airport. Hey, man, you guys won. Congratulations, bro. Andy, J-Mac, Tommy, all those dudes. Nevius, way to be, brother. You know what I mean? Brother Xerxes, you know? Like, like, I was always congratulating. And that's, I think, what we have to do. But we'll see, right? Like, maybe some people think, like, being assholes and breaking it down is somehow going to help us all out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what, the Wild Dogs crew was insane out at World Cup. I've never been heckled. I've never been heckled so hard in a long time. They were just giving it to me, like, you know, there was probably like 15 or 20 people just giving it to me, and I was like throwing up the, you know, like, okay, guys, you got me, here we go, you know. But it's fun to have that too, all of it.
They don't throw stones at David; they throw them at Goliath. So let's take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, they were giving it to me, dude. It was great.
But that's good, right? We need those fan bases in the sport. And maybe this doesn't get the ESPN, the Ocho, and whatever else. But like, for us, it's pretty cool.
Totally. It's fun,
Pretty
man.
cool,
And
It
who
doesn't need
knows?
to get to those places to be big anymore, though. That's the thing as well. It doesn't need to be on ESPN to be big with the internet
Yeah.
in that day and
Totally.
age. Like, I
The
don't
next
see,
step
I
is
don't see
getting this
gaming.
content that you guys are talking about and we're all talking about and all your guests have talked about. Like there is so many cool, interesting stories. And like you can't, the three of us cannot sit here with all the hours in the day and explain the relationships that we have. Like you cannot verbalize the deep admiration that we all have for one another on so many different levels, right? Like from my blood sugar being low at a Cracker Barrel in Florida to the velocity field with Tony, right? Like we just can't, words would not do it justice. But that's why we are part of the fabric, and a small part of the fabric, but we are all part of this huge fabric. And if you've been out there doing it for 10 or 20 years, and just because you haven't got to the pro division or whatever, you're a part of the fabric. You are all a part of the fabric of this thing that we all have, and it's called paintball. And now it's like, it's just really important that we work towards a common goal and building this thing up and not breaking it down, right? Like everybody's got to do their part.
That's right.
There's a lot of, focus right now, like we're talking about Aftermath, right? Yeah. We're just another team, man. We're no better than the team that Marcelo coaches in New York. We're no better than a Blast Camp team. We're no better than a Doodlebug team or an Arizona team or a Texas. There's so much in Texas. Paulie and them are doing a great job down in Texas with what they're doing. We're no better or worse than, like, we're all teams, but like, let's keep it going and let's see who can raise the bar, man. I hope somebody puts pressure on me. I hope somebody outdoes me, because now I got to innovate. I got to continue to get better.
That's right, dude. Love that. Hell yeah. That's what it's all about, man. Keeping that innovation fresh and growing and be impressed, like get impressed a little bit so that you can make a decision. What am I going to do from here? Am I going to, am I going to cower?
I watched these 3 guys this weekend with 2 extra guys on their line, pressed my new guys left and right. And it was like, okay, like I didn't raise a voice at anybody. It was like, okay, let's figure out what we can do here, boys. And sooner or later we win a point, we win another point. That's the growth of it, right? So
that's right. Yeah, dude.
But that's the story of paintball. That's why we come back. I mean, listen, holding the World Cup trophy is pretty awesome. I've gotten to do it. You guys have gotten to do it, right? Like but truly, the random Chicago Knights down on the south side on Cicero coming into Midway and getting your bag jacked from the luggage carousel, like that's part of the story, or
all of it
back in the day, like that was part of the story. And I think paintball, it's been a good year for the industry. Like a lot of people have played paintball. I think a lot of people have fallen back in love with paintball. And now it's up to us to continue to keep this thing going forward in a positive direction.
Yeah. I know you hear it all the time too. Like me and Yosh, we talk about it. God bless Yosh Rao. He's the best. And we talk about like embracing the schlep, embracing the crap and stuff. And cause that's where the magic's at. That's the fun stuff, Don't whine about it. Don't get all pissed off and go south. Just embrace it and move through it. What are you going to do? Move through.
I've got pictures on my phone of Yosh and a rail, an airport rail cart going from terminal to terminal, just half tired. I still have them on my phone of like us and the schlep, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's what majority of paintball travel is a lot of schlep.
Canceled flights. Going to Vegas. One time we were coming home. We got stopped in Vegas. Our flight got canceled. They said they'd get us home like a day or 2 later. I think Kenny Rosenberg, Brandon Short, Bobby, we had people in the trunk of a minivan because I was like, I'm not staying in Vegas. Like, I feel gross. I just want to go sleep in my bed. Like a 300-mile drive back to Southern California. I said, I'm renting a van. Anybody wants to get in? Man, there was like 9 dudes packed in that van. Like we were stacked. Literally, I think it was Kenny or one of them was like in the trunk space in the back, which was pretty unsafe. But like back there, like we're all getting home. But it was the adventure.
Yeah. That was roomy for Kenny. He's
is a lot of space there.
Plenty of room for him.
Oh man.
Dude, that's awesome.
You could go on for days about stories, dude, from the old times, man. I gotta say, I'm blessed that we've had these relationships,
especially aftermath stories, dude. Aftermath stories run deep. That's for damn sure.
You remember the one time, Mike?
A lot of the statute of limitations are running out on a lot of the bad stuff we did. So
I was just about to say, do you remember the time you, Big Sean, Caleb, you guys all, it was after we won Tampa, You guys broke into mine and Mouse's hotel room and zip tied us to the chairs and left us in there for hours. Left us in there. Do you
that
remember
might
that?
have been more Big Cheesy in them.
Yeah,
I know
okay.
Big Sean was going to take you guys down to a Southside cemetery in Chicago and tie you to a headstone and leave you there all night.
Oh
for
my
annoying
god! Oh my god!
Dude, shout out to Big Sheezy one time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
major
The old boy, he's still around.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Sheez. I miss you, dude.
I'll bring him to an event someday.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Please.
You have to. Yes.
Old Paulie Walnuts. I'll bring him with me. Yeah, that was or like Beasley, rest in peace, giving him a black eye, throwing him in the pool.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go
in Orlando.
He didn't want to go quietly, so
yeah, to earn it.
Geez. That's the
or
thing
the one
we
time
talk
Marcelo
about.
burned his forehead with a flat iron doing his hair.
Oh my god, dude! I forgot about
South
that.
Beach, Miami.
That's
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
you
where
bought
it
me the
happened.
You bought me the dopest pair of shades. I was like 15 years old, flattening my hair. What was I thinking? What was I thinking?
You're a
How about
trendy,
the best
dude.
story about that one was the night before when we had won World Cup and we were at the steakhouse, and I think I took my shirt off, ripped it off, was swinging it around my head. The day before that, we had gone to Burger King because we were going to be in Florida for 2 weeks and there was a hurricane.
That's
so I had
right,
pulled out
right.
like $10,000 in cash just
Oh,
because
damn.
credit cards weren't going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally South Florida had been flattened by a hurricane.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we had gone
man.
to Burger King the night before. I left my backpack in this Burger King.
Oh no, dude! I remember this.
Completely brain farted. And like 24 hours later, I remember it, right? And I'm like,
Oh.
right? Like my wallet, everything's in it. So I go to this, like, did somebody turn in a backpack with 10 grand in it? And the manager hands me a policeman's card and they're like, yeah, this guy's got it. And I'm like, motherfucker, beep, 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 beep. Called it, like trying to, but it's the weekend now, right?
Yeah.
So I got a hold of somebody and they're like, yeah, we have your backpack. It's in the evidence locker. And I'm like, whatever. Like, as long as you got my money, we're good.
Yeah.
You know? So that night we win. I think we spent way too much money. I needed my ID to get my backpack out of the police locker in the middle of nowhere, Florida. It was like a time warp into some South town that was like not about me and my tattooed California ass. So I lost my ID. I had to show up with my PSP ID and try to claim this backpack. Thank God they did. But the reason it was in police evidence is because I have hypodermic syringes because I'm type 1 diabetic and I have to shoot insulin into myself, right?
Oh,
So they thought I was like a drug dealer with syringes, right? Because then I give them the number and these two cops come out and flank me. And I'm like,
Oh, God.
I just left it at a Burger King. I didn't do anything that long.
Yeah.
Story. And then they give me the 10 grand. It's all in like police evidence bags, like with all the, and I'm like, we're going to South Beach. It was me, you, Ronnie Filipponi, Zeta,
and
like,
Mouse.
we were all going down there.
Yeah.
And, they gave me all my money. Then I got in the minivan and my ID was sitting in the minivan. It had like fallen in because I think I was swinging my shirt around my head like a head. Shout out Petey Pablo.
Yeah. Shout out.
Then we went to Florida for a week, and that was pretty crazy because South Beach was good, but everywhere else was completely no power.
South Beach,
Yeah.
I remember it was tight. I feel like the hotel we stayed at, I might even remember the name. I think it might have been Catalina, but it was all white. I remember it was the dopest. Again, I'm 15 years old, dude, and you had us balling. We just won World Cup. We were in South Beach, staying at this dope ass place. It was like, man, that was so tight. And I remember we were also like starstruck at that time because we're with all the Dynasty guys, and you guys just won World Cup. I was talking to Tyler about this a couple weeks ago when we were in Florida eating at Charlie's Sunday night, because that's what you do when you win Cup. You go to Charlie's. And I was like, man, it's just crazy because I remember, 17 years ago, we were sitting here, in the Charlie's Steakhouse with Aftermath, just won Division III, and Dynasty was over there. And I just remember being like, I want to be that one day, and to have been able to follow that path, man, is just, it's humbling. It's awesome because, again, it's not for like you talk about, it's not for this outside fame. It's the fabric that we're talking about, right? Like, we understand what it means to each other. And that's like the coolest part about it.
Or when you walk into Charlie's and you look at the bottles of Dom and all the French champagne, right? And know that night we bought every last bottle of champagne out of that place. And I think the bill was something like $15,000.
Oh, man. Jesus. Dude.
Marcelo, true or false?
Absolutely.
We literally were spraying bottles of Cristal in there.
It was nuts.
It wasn't even my
party up.
plan either. Like it was just like,
Yeah.
hey, this seems like a good idea. Whoops.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
Dude,
son. Just spent your Tesla.
Yeah.
On champagne, baby.
Hell
Dude.
yeah.
And we don't even drink.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
I was saying, I literally don't drink.
Like,
Yeah. For the moment, man. For that moment. It's everything.
that was not
Yep.
the schlep. That was the opposite of schlep. That
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
That was the paintball glory right there. Man,
It
I
happens.
always mixed up those years though. But you totally remind me that's right. That 2005 Miami event was right after we road tripped there.
Yep.
That was straight from that World Cup. That's crazy. And I think me, Ronnie, and Mouse were guesting with Greg Pauly's team. Aftermath didn't
Yep.
play that one, right?
Vicious or Diesel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Vicious, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was Diesel. Or either one, but yeah.
Totally.
Man. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
dude.
times, dude. Hell yeah.
I know, man.
Damn, dude.
Party on, baby.
Dun,
Party
dun,
up.
dun.
Absolutely.
Dun,
All right,
dun,
Hinge. Well, I
dun.
see the sun is setting in your
You were right.
I know when we started the show, you know, the wife was like, "Hey, should I keep the lights on or off?" And I was like, "Dude, if we go the distance, it's gonna be dark in there."
You see
Here
this
we
text
are.
that she's going to get Chick-fil-A. Imagine that. Chick-fil-A.
Ooh,
Oh
there we
man, dude.
go. There we go.
Mike's got a good rotation, you know, and you know you're eating. Well, you know what you're eating. You definitely aren't going to be guessing what your meal's going to be.
Yep.
You're going
Come
to
to
be
Aftermath. We
Sushi.
eat good.
sushi, Cracker Barrel, Chick-fil-A. What else you
Yep.
got in the rotation these days?
That Mexican
Well, on Aftermath,
restaurant.
we're always going to a steakhouse. We usually hit a steakhouse, usually Fogo de Chao, Roost, somewhere like that,
Oof.
in every town we go to.
There we go. What's that Mexican restaurant that we used to go to by your spot? I forget the name of it.
El
It was
Torito.
yeah, El Torito. Is that it?
All right, the one by the mall. I know. You used to always go to that one.
Oh,
Mike, down in Escondido.
the one by the mall was
It was by your old house, I think.
That was El Torito's.
I don't know. It was-
down by the mall.
It was good, dude. It was
Hey,
good.
remember the Mexican place we used to go to by SC Village, Marcelo? The taco place?
Wahoo's.
Wahoo's, yeah.
Dude, that's
Isn't that like
funny.
Travis Barker's place.
Yeah, he was one of the
Blink-182.
owners. That's so funny because afterwards, me, Randy, and Mouse, after this last weekend, we went and got some tacos, this little Mexican place. And I was like, I thought of the Wahoos, you know, back in the day. Like, it was just, that was, again, as a young kid, you go out with all these older guys for like the lunches that we used to do. Like, those are some of the most memorable moments. Those are exactly what you're talking about, right? Like, lunches with the
Yeah.
team or dinners with the team and stuff is there's like nothing better. I love that stuff so much. You know, I love just hanging with the boys after a good grind.
For sure.
It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause-
Wahoos.
Yeah, they're priceless moments. Like, you know, everybody's been slaving away at the paintball field or at a tournament, and you guys get together telling war stories, having fun, eating
Some
some
of the
food.
greatest moments in life will be had over dinners, right?
That's it.
Absolutely,
Yep.
man.
Absolutely, brother.
Good.
And we got
Yeah,
many
Hinch.
more to come with all of us, so we're good. Hopefully.
Yeah, let's see what's happening in 21. We'll get through Christmas time and keep this party rocking, you know?
We're
Keep it
gonna have
going.
to get you out here, Tyler, for one of our big weekends at the academy.
Dude, it would be an honor.
I love
I would
it.
love that. Absolutely
Come
love
on
it.
down.
I'm not far away. It's like to drive out to the West Coast isn't too bad, you know?
We might have to come out there one weekend too.
There we go. I'd love that, man. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We got Unger out there, Urena.
Yep.
Come out and get a grind in one weekend.
That'd be great, dude. We got to set that up. It'd be good for just the paintball culture as well. We got to get everybody
Gotta
together
spread it
and link
around.
it all. That's it, brother. Absolutely, man.
100%.
Love that.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Hopefully we can do this again someday.
You
Yeah,
know we
you
can,
know
Trying to be
Mike.
the only three-peat guest.
Always
You
say-
know
Let me know. Hey, if Bear ever responds and we can get him on here, let me know.
Dude,
All right, well-
four-way, that would be great. That'd be fantastic.
We got to
What's
bring
happening?
Ryan in though. We got
Yeah.
to sneak Ryan in at some point.
Yeah. Dude, that guy crushed it at Cup. Huge shout out to Ryan. And
Huge shout out. Greatest,
man,
greatest dude, highest
Yeah.
IQ, like
Yeah.
nothing but respect. People will always see me bragging on Ryan, and they're like, you're this dude's fan," and I'm like, no, I just have respect for the man, like
yeah,
because
Yep.
I know he still has so much more potential.
that's right, dude. And he's I think he's 45 right now, and he's doing well. He's doing so good for his
He was
age.
all of 30
Mid-
something.
mid-40s. Dude, I'm so stupid though. Ryan was our second guest. Mike, I'm sorry. I forgot Ryan came on right after Cup.
I don't
Oh,
mind
you're gonna
following-
do that?
I
Yeah,
don't mind
that's a
following
big.
the boy up.
Yeah.
That's
Dude.
okay though. Yeah, Mr.
But
Green-
Mike will be the first triple set. You know what I'm saying? He's coming back on here soon. Yeah.
People
Yes,
love
sir.
to hear from you, Hinch.
Mike-
Thank you for
Mike,
everything you
dude.
do, man.
All right,
brother.
brothers.
Thank you
Love
so
you
much.
guys, man.
Love you too, dude. Hey, happy holidays to the fam. You guys stay safe out there.
Same to you, brother.
Love you, brother.
All right, dude. Peace. Later.
Well, you have it there, everybody. Michael Hinman is taking back the San Diego Aftermath name. That's exciting news for anyone that has ever been an Aftermath fan. I know us in the Aftermath alumni are very excited to see it come back to the West Coast, back to where it started, and see that hard work and grit being put back into the system. That was a great show. So many good little kernels of knowledge. Mike is the man. We can't thank him enough for coming on. He is welcome on this show anytime he wants. And we know that the listeners, you guys really enjoy his episodes. The numbers don't lie. And a lot of you had reached out and asked if we could get him on. And I think he shed a lot of amazing insight into the industry and up-and-coming players, what they could do, what kind of things they need to be out there working on, and how they can make a name for themselves, how they can do all of these things to reach the heights of this sport. So in any case, if you guys did like the show, please head over to ptgpaintball.com. Show us some love. We got all of our shows on there. Our Patreon's on there. Our website was built by Rusty Glaze at Constant Pursuit. If you guys do need a website, he is the man to call. He does a great job. He sets it up so you can basically make the website run itself. And if you are a young entrepreneur, a field owner, or a paintball company, or maybe you just want a cool website, Rusty's your guy. All right, everybody. Until next time, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. We'll see you very, very soon.